Hey Bloomerinos, we're getting ready to play with our latest kit. And on this one, you're looking at all the supplies that come in this kit. You've got 3 full rows of ribbon, the scarecrow head, this great wreath base, the coordinating pumpkin that we're going to use in there, our greenery, our luxury berries, and this gorgeous sunflower bush over here that has all the great filler. So this is going to be elegant but classic. It's going to scream, hey, I am ready for fall. And this one is great because it just has a scarecrow, so you can use it for fall and Halloween if you want to. It's a great mix of both. So let's get started. We're going to have fun with this. Y'all, so we actually make the ribbon, the bow out of these ribbons on a separate video. So what you want to do is if you want to, you don't know how to make bows and you need to learn how, you're going to need to let us know in the comments so we can get you the bow video as well. And if it doesn't come, the bow video sometimes comes out after the project. Don't worry, we will still get you a link to it there. You can always ask and we're happy to help you with that. So this particular project, what you are going to need that doesn't come in the kit is going to be, you're going to need a little bit of floral foam, just a small block. We're even going to cut this down smaller. You'll need a few floral pins because I keep these in this little box, but these right here help us secure everything to the base. So we're going to need those. And a couple of little wooden dowels would be great because that's how we'll put in our pumpkin and our scarecrow heads. You need a couple of those. And then you're going to need all your wreath making tools. And of course, over here, we've got our glue skillet that we're going to be using to glue things on. So let's dive right in and get this party started. So the first thing we do is kind of prepare our base. We like to use floral foam when we're going to attach a lot of things to these type of bases, but there's supports run along these grapevine pieces. So you can't just attach things to this fabric. You have to think about how you're putting it on. So I'm going to take a little scrap of foam I have left from a design school project, and we're going to take and slice that kind of in half. So I use my big knife here, slice this down, careful. It's so crunchy, but a nice thin piece here. And the key is I want this to be able to get from each piece of that vine to vine, kind of right in the middle, a little bit up in the middle. So right there would be perfect. I am going to put some glue on the back, and then we're going to glue it here first. But then we're going to take those floral pins and we're going to come around these wire supports in here to hold this in place. So I've got my electric skillet good to go. And I'm going to kind of get rid of some of the glue in the middle, but kind of leave it heavy on each end. So we got kind of a little bit of a, like a thin smear on there, but not as much in the middle. So we're going to take and push that on the grapevine. Perfect. Now gently come with the fabric. You need to be very careful because that glue is hot. Touch that fabric to the back. That's just to make it look pretty. We are not going to expect that fabric to take any weight. It won't work. Now come on these sides, dip these in glue too, and while it's hot, let's come on the sides and get on into that grapevine and into the foam. I'm using my U pins for that. If you're not already in design school, guys, these are some of the supplies we use as our everyday components when we're creating U pins, and the floral foam. Those are normal pieces. But our kits are a great way to get started. And as you kind of explore, you do a few kits, then come join us in design school as well, where you can kind of expand your creative process and learn more and more and more. Where I teach all the principles of designs. But these projects we're doing here together are just a perfect starting point, you know, because they're usually easy. Oh, dang it. That was hot, y'all. I put the glue on it first. I got it. Not too bad. I'm coming through the back, but I'm also hitting that grapevine, okay? I'm going to go over here. So I'm going through the grapevine from the back, and I'm going right into my foam as well. So we can keep doing that. Okay, I've got 4 pieces. I'm going to do 2 more. Keleas design school students will tell you I'm overly constructive. I want to make sure things don't fall apart. I did craft shows for 17 years as my main job, y'all, after leaving my teaching career. to do them and be in this creative, um, the creative lifestyle and making money with my crafts. And kind of neat because the melding of my previously teaching school, and then the creative aspect have melded together now where I get to teach design school. So it's really, really fun. But they'll tell you I over construct things. I want to make sure they last and they are really well made. So you're going to see me do that a lot. Now that we have our foam in, this is what everybody's going to go into and attach to. So you need to start playing with where you think you want your pieces to go. And anytime you see me make something and you buy one of our kits, no, it's just a guideline. You don't have to follow it directly. You can improvise and change things up. You might want to use less and take some of the supplies from the kit and make something else with those too. You just know when you get a kit that the collection goes together so nicely. So I'm thinking about having the scarecrow head down low and the bow up high. Let's see if we like that. I don't know. Now remember, we mowed our bow on another video. So if you need the link for the bow, you just need to ask. So we could do it like this. Okay, that's an option. Or I'm thinking maybe down low and scarecrow head up high. I think that's cute too. Let's see. What if we put the bow here, kind of off the corner of the foam, right? And we can have floral going off that too. And then we tuck our scarecrow head right in there to the tails of the bow. What do you think about that? I think I'm going to go with that. You play with it all kind of different ways and you decide what you like, but I think I love that one. So my first step is going to be knowing my design, how it's going to come together. I'm going to get this bow in. And on the bow, we're going to add a floral pin to the back so we can glue it right into our foam. So you're going to take and add one of those U pins into the cable tie. And we'll get that nice and tight. Just put it to the side for a second. Pull that really tight. And then take your wire cutters, trim that off. And then I'm just going to rotate this around. And then we'll put some glue on here and we'll be able to put her right in the edge of that foam. So I'm going to bring a little glue over. And let's just tuck that right in. Okay. Right up here on the top edge of the foam. And we're going to push that in. And that bow can go right there. Now go ahead and take your tails and separate them out. Because our plan is to put our scarecrow head right here when we get to that part of the design. But we've got lots more fun pieces to go in. Now our cute pumpkin, I know I kind of want it tucked opposite the scarecrow. So if I put him here, right? And I know this pumpkin's going to pop in right up here, just tucked into these ribbons. So super cute. So you want to kind of think about the angle you're going to want to put them in. And I always like to pay attention to the stem as well. I was just teaching that in design school, that we need to alternate those stems. So thinking about how everything's going, I want you to grab one of your skewers and kind of put that at an angle so it can pop out the correct way when we get ready to have it in the foam. So you might need an awl to do this. I'm going to wiggle this in first and see if I can get it in. Okay, so I kind of pre-did my hole. Now I'm going to come in with my glue on it, push it in there, and just twist it while you're going in. That helps you get into that foam, okay? So it's a little bit of an angle, and then I'm going to push this into the foam. So cut it down a little. Sometimes that goes flying, so I usually like to put that against the table. There's my foam. And remember, I can't go too super tight. I got to have it kind of poking out of my bow. So something like that. All right, cute. It's so cute already. Now Mr. Scarecrow is going to wiggle in right about here and be opposite that pumpkin. One of the things that you do learn in design school is all about the angles and the lines you're creating. So I want to work opposite. And so that means I've got to attach him in to the foam right down here. So I'm going to try to do that same move where this comes in this way. So that way he can poke in right there, right? So I need this to be at an angle here. So I just take and poke him in. And let's just make sure that's going to work before I glue it. I think that'll work. I'm going to make it a little bit flatter of an angle. There we go. I think that is perfect. All right. So I'm going to go in there and glue that in. I think I would be comfortable if we did a couple of dowels just for safety. Once again, I warned you. I'm always thinking about, I want my customers to have a piece that's really going to hold up well. And even if you're making it for yourself, you want it to be able to withstand, some torture from the rest of the family. All right, I'm going to dip those two in the glue pot and get those dowels glue on them. And then these are going to go into the foam right into here. And just tuck. Oh, that's perfect. Oh, look how cute everything is. I love the angles on this. It looks great. Okay, so some ribbon tails come out behind the head, some come in front. This is pretty stinking cute already, guys. But nope, we're not done. Now we're going to build up our florals around here. So let's grab our greenery bush because it's kind of going to be our filler. And this is a boxwood that has the fall colorations. So what I like to do with it is just push it up a little bit. Rotate these ever so slightly as you're going up. Okay. And start to create more of clusters with them. Once I've done that, I'm going to trim these off and don't go too short. Keep them pretty long because we have to work around some elements in here. So we're going to start with right behind the head and just pop these right into that foam. I'm going to have one piece kind of coming out this way from the bow. And we're going to work back from there. This greenery is kind of the go behind. The neat thing is we've kind of covered up all of our actual foam with the bow and the scarecrow head. So now you're just creating this background. There's really nothing to hide. I'm going to pull that up and really get in there. I had to lean way over. I'm sorry if I was in the camera. I got to get in here to this foam. There we go. So those three pieces are in there. Now let's work on the other side. So I'm going to bring it over a little. We want to kind of balance the size. I want to make sure when I'm going into here, I'm about the same size. Similar. So I'm going to put this one behind our little pumpkin. So you're just going to wiggle it behind that ribbon, get into that foam. Come here, buddy. There we go. Give me a hard time. There we go. And let's go beside that a little bit. These I have to cluster them a little bit more clustered, but still leave the stem long because we got to get behind the bow. Into the foam right here. Yep, there he goes. And just pull out those glue strings as you're going along. Okay, and this one into the right. Y'all, we are just layering up our greenery in the background. Let me bring this one over. I'll tuck it right in here. And my gosh, make sure you're commenting kit. You don't want to miss out on this one. Super cute. These fancy kits always sell out because they're just a lot of supplies in there and the full rolls of ribbon. They are nice. Okay. This is really pretty right here before we add anything else. Look at that. So big, so cute. But no, we're not done. That's not how we roll. We're going to come in with our sunflowers. And these have grasses and greenery and all the fun stuff. And you could just pull these off the stem. And then we'll take and trim them to make them nice, neat, and clean. I've got one little piece of greenery left. We're going to use that kind of at the front when we get all done. And I'll just trim these down where they're similar sizes. And I am going to do what we call shake hands in design school. We're going to move everybody up and shape them out, open up my sunflower. And now I'm going to work these in and around our design. So I'm going to take one and have it coming out of the scarecrow. have it come right below the Scarecrow down in here. So hold on to it when you're pushing it in. Yep, there it goes. Perfect. I'll have that one kind of come down to get a little of that pop of orange down here. Let's put some at the top. And I'm just going to separate these out also. And let's go on either side of our pumpkin. I'm going to turn her around to make it a little easy for me. So it might be upside down for just a second to you, but I'm going to go on either side of my pumpkin. I got to see way back in there. There you go. I want to hear that crunch going in there. So my first piece is going in. I love it. And I'll fluff back out my bow, and let's put the other one on this side. Okay, and I'll turn it back around to show you when we're all done. Let me get my sunflower open, and this pretty greenery looking good. Turn that around. Now, I don't know about you, but I love getting to escape into my craft room and make something beautiful like this. And when you get a completed kit all together, you literally don't have to go out shopping, worry about getting anything. You probably have got all the tools in your craft room already, and that just makes this process go by quick and easy. All right, that looks good. I love that pop of orange. Now our last step is going to be to add our berry. So on these, I like to take and just kind of pull these off. That way we can keep this wire very long to help us get all the way into the foam. So I'm going to take and pull those off. And then up here, I can trim these a little bit longer. So I got one bigger cluster and this right here. All right, let's take these and we're going to work these right in around our bow to kind of get started. Just pop those in. Oh my gosh, as soon as you add the berries, I'm telling you, that pop of orange, it picks up that pop of orange in the bow. Oh my goodness, so pretty, y'all. I love it. We're gonna put that one right there. I'm gonna come over here on this side. So I'm gonna wiggle it around a little bit. And when you do your project, don't be afraid to do that. Like maneuver it, manipulate it, so you're making it easy for you to work on it. And we're just layering these and building this design up. How about some berries up here? What we would call the foreground in the front. We want to work those in. Look how cute this is. This is building up adorable. It's coming out better than I even anticipated. I'm loving it. That orange right there. Let's come on this side, and I'm going to use these berries kind of coming down. Since we did really good with all the berries there, let's have one piece kind of cascading down out of the bottom here. So this one, you'll use that piece you left a little bit longer. And I'm going behind everybody and tucking it into the foam. Yeah, I want to hear it crunch when it goes in. And now just do your final touches of fluffing out the bow. Grab your last little piece of greenery. Trim the stem down, because this is going to go right into the foam, right kind of tucked in, kind of coming out of the bow right here. And we want to have that just tucked in right by his little head. And just like that, we made it, y'all. Can you believe how cute this turned out? This is adorable. It's just next level beautiful. I think you're going to love to try to make one of these for yourself. And this one definitely can hang on your front door or your side door or wherever you would like it. Build your own Scarecrow pumpkin because it's stinking adorable. I love the silhouette of the pumpkin behind it. It looks amazing. Hey, Blue Merinos, you going to make this with us? You got to do it. This was fun. Don't forget the bow video is its own video, so just ask for that in the comments. We'll get you the link for the bows, and you can make this same project right along with me. Hey, Blue Merinos, it's Keleas with Keleas.com, y'all, Keleas.com. I'm so glad you're here this afternoon. We are rocking out a fun swag, and this one is set up. You can buy it as a kit or the supply list, depending what's available. So we'll let you know what we've got in the links below or up in our link tree. You can check it all out. Today we're starting with a base that's already built like this, and I'm going to show you what a gorgeous base it's on. It's all made of angel vine, and do you notice how the berries go from red to like a rust to an orange? It's just a beautiful color combination, and we're going to add a few things to this to make it super special. But the first thing we're going to do before we build up our swag is we're going to add the bow to the top. So it comes with a hanger ready to go, and we're going to add our own bow. So these types of projects are really great for beginners or those who just need some really simple pieces to help fill up their Etsy shops or get their homes decorated in a snap, you know, for the holidays. So welcome everybody. I'm Keleas with Keleas.com. I'm glad you're here. Please like, subscribe, follow, share, do all the things so you won't ever miss a video. And we also would love for you to be on our text list at 832-734-5201. Text us the word live and we can get you on our Discord server, and you can never miss another video or new supply or new trick, tip, all the things. So you can see here, I'm going to be using this 1.5-inch ribbon that's got all the beautiful fall colors in it. And I want it to be coming out longer than the swag. So just bring the swag over, measure out, go a little bit longer just for good measure, literally, so we have extra if we need it. So I've done that, and that makes it probably about 26 inches long. Come to the center, and we're going to make just a really simple bow here. I'm going to bring these loops out to pretty big, 6.5. 6.5 in twists. And let's go on the other side, 6.5 and twist. And you can hold this in your hand right here in the middle to make the bow. I find it a little bit easier to use a bow maker, but whatever you prefer is totally fine. All right, and I'm going all the way around with 3 loops on each side because we want to make this bow nice and full for our design. Let's do that on every side, and I'm going to separate them out. Bring those tails down. And I'm just going to alternate the cuts so they make a nice little chevron when you put them together. You could also dovetail that if you wanted to, but that's where you get the look, where the tails are alternating. Now we're going to put our second layer of ribbons in. And this one is going to be a little bit shorter. I'm going to go at, we were at 6.5. Let's just go at 5. Let's go shorter. And now I'm going to make this tail about 6 inches shorter, okay? So a little bit more dramatic of a decrease in size. So 5.5 right here. Come in and twist. Or you could go 5 too if you wanted to go even in a little bit more. Either one's fine. You just want to kind of bring your eye into the center of the bow. And twist that around. And we're going to put 2 on each side. Make sure you hold it tight. We do in-depth bow training every week. So you can go back and catch one of our replays here. Wherever you're enjoying this video, we'll have replays available for you. Or definitely check out our blog on Keleas.com. Okay, let's come in with just a bow tie in the center. And what that is a little loop. And basically I'm choosing that because I don't want tails coming down. I want a kind of a clean, just a few tails coming in the center. So I crisscross these ribbons over, then bring that, scrunch it up, and we'll put that right down the middle. Super duper cutie. Love it. So we've made a blast off bow. That's 3 loops, 2 loops, 1 loop. And now I'm going to get a little section to use for the center. And you're still going to have some more ribbon for another project, guys. Whatever you prefer to make next. Now let's come in with our cute little cable ties. These are just clear. They're not so cutesy. I need some jazzy ones. All right, come down the middle. We're going to pull it off the bow maker just like that. Now, rotate this behind as you fluff it up, okay? Fluff it up and section these out. You guys, if you want to learn how to floral design, of course we do easy projects like the one we're doing today, but you want to learn the principles and how to make the swag from scratch and how to put colors together and textures and all that. That's something we teach in our design school course, and it opens up twice a year. So depending when you're watching this video, you need to get on the wait list. When class opens up, we will let you know. You can grab a spot at KeleasDesignSchool.com. And remember, that's K-E-L-E-A-S. Alrighty. I got the cable tie on. I put that one in the back. That's how we're going to attach it to the swag. But I've got to cover up our little plastic center because we don't want to see that. So I just take and fold this on itself. And we'll run that right down the middle. You can make that fat or skinny, whatever you prefer, going down the middle. And then you are ready to take and put a couple of knots in there in the back if you can. If not, one will work. This 2 is a little bit safer. You don't have to worry about ever being naked in the middle. We don't want to see that cable tie showing. Okay, so there's our gorgeous bow, and that's kind of the most trickiest part of the whole project. Probably takes the longest part. Now I showed you the swag, and I'm going to show you the pick. Then we've got a surprise thing coming for the end. So I've got to keep you teased till the end. All right, so wherever we leave space for a bow, I like to call it the bow zone. And the bow zone is right in here. So that's a term you'll hear me use off and on. Now, you see I have this pink and green floral over here, and I have it over here. I'd really like to alternate that. So I'm going to move the little pine, no, it's not a pine, it's kind of like a fun little fern type pick, and move this across from it. So these will be opposite. Just bring this in, just run this right down, and leave some room for the bow zone, and then just bring this piece over, okay? So that's called shaking hands with a pick, evaluating how things are. The difference between just shoving it in and not paying attention to that and making every piece have its actual place means the difference in the price points you can charge for your work later, or the detail that you put into your work when you are decorating your own home with it, or the office you're decorating, or what project you're doing. You're paying attention to the placement of the berries, the greenery, the picks. I'm not just shoving things in. So I took a cable tie and I tied that on through there, and I've got all these beautiful pieces in here, and they're just a mirror image of what we've got going on down there. So, but we still left our bow zone, and this is smaller, and that's fine. That's kind of the look we're going for. So now I'm going to pop in the bow. You're going to see how easy this is. Look at this. You made this swag. Boom. Boom. Oh my gosh. So I'm going to run this through the angel vine. That's what the base is called that the whole swag is made on. I'm going to run that through and tighten that cable tie up right here. And then we'll slide it around, and we're going to manipulate the tails. And then I told you about our little surprise piece coming up. I am going to show you that one and show you how fun this is to add on. This has such a natural nature vibe to it with the berries and the beautiful colors. Wait till you see what we're going to pop in. Oh, well, sugar. That was Keleas pulling out the front loop. Never feel, I'll glue it in. So that's my little, that was my loop in the center of the bow. And because I yanked on it, I pulled it out. So just be careful. I forget I can't do that with a bow tie. No. That's okay, you can glue it back. And I'm going to rotate this around because I'm trying to get the bow to the center. Now, with the longer tails, I like the really long tails going kind of behind the berries. So bring the 2 shorter tails up, and I'm going to bring the longer tails just tucking along the edge here, okay? And that kind of gives it a nice little figure, gives this baby some hips. Her little hips are popping out. She's looking good on your door. Okay, let's bring this one over too. Okay, now the shorter tails, they're going to run up front. And you can see what a great flow you have going down with both the textures. Now I'm going to curl this up and let the others hang straight on the sides, and that one will curl up. Now, are you ready for the surprise? Boy, I say that 3 times fast. That's a hard one. Surprise! Okay, there's our gorgeous swag, and watch. Look what we're going to add. We have the coolest, I got to scoot this over a little bit more to the middle. The coolest twig that I think is going to look so fun in here, and I want to show you. Look at it. It is a butterfly on the coolest bumpy twig, and we're going to use these in here like the butterflies have located the manna from heaven. So I'm going to break this down. We're going to be gluing this into different sections. So this is kind of like a little bonus trick here where we can take some pieces and add them in to add more depth and dimension. And that is something I love to do. My design school students, if you're here watching or you're watching on the replay, let everybody know how we feel about depth and dimension, and how you feel about it, and how important it is in the structure of our work. So I totally took all the butterflies off, and we're going to start to place them into a piece, okay, and start to add them in. I'm going to bring this down, and I'm going to use this big piece that has several butterflies, and we're going to shake hands with them. And this one's going to come up here at the top, and I'm going to put it coming out of some of the berries. So I'm going into my glue pot here. We're just going to tuck it in. And I'm going to make sure it just kind of hides behind the bow right there. Perfect. And then we can spread these little guys out. I think a smaller butterfly would look great, like right there. And then we can just manipulate these however, where we want them to go. Look how fun that is already at the top. Oh my gosh. That's so fun. Now let's come to the bottom. Let's work some more of the bottom. And it's so nice that this already has a hanger built in. You don't even have to worry about how you're hanging it. Putting on a hanger, you don't have to do any of that. Now, when I ship this out to my customer, I'm going to be boxing it up from behind where it can tie it in, because it's on that nice angel vine base. Okay, so these are a little bigger. Let's have some of these kind of come out in between all of these berries, and I'm going to glue into the base of the vine. Oh, that's so pretty. And just let these guys fly out like they're all around. Let's come down a little bit lower. I've got 4 for the bottom, so I'll just bring one over here and then keep going down. I'm just looking at my sizing so we don't have, it looks like there's a big one with a little one. So we'll just have nice movement all the way down. Isn't this beautiful? On your porch with some gorgeous pumpkins. You can pick up a couple extra of the butterfly sprays if you want to add them in with your fall decor, because they are just a beautiful, beautiful color, and they match so perfectly. Let's bring that down, and you can have them out or more in, either way. Oh my gosh, this looks so good. Okay, let's bring this one down, and then I'm going to have one for the very bottom. So I'm getting in there to the angel vine and pushing them in. So I know a lot of times we're doing really complicated projects with many steps and directions, and we're teaching really high level things in design school, but sometimes it's fun to make something as simple as this one, guys. Simple and just beautiful. Beautiful and easy. So no matter how busy your schedule is, you can take a little time to floral design something just like this with us. Oh my gosh, y'all. I love it, Blue Merinos. It turned out stunning. So check out the finishes images when you're all done, and you can see it hanging and how you could visualize this in your own space. Oh my goodness, Blue Merinos, look what we're going to make today. This gorgeous wreath. Yeah, it looks like a gorgeous fall, really neutral color design, but it's not just a wreath for your door. Guess what? We're going to make it together, and it is going to be an epic candle ring for a really big, like 6-inch candle. This here is a battery operated one, and it works great right in the center of this. And yep, I'm going to show you how to make it. This all comes in a kit right here from Keleas.com. So you can easily put this together just like I'm doing step by step. And when you buy the kit, we send you a link to the video, so you won't have to worry about hey, how do I find this video again, Klee? You will have it in the kit, and you can come back and make it with me step by step. So the first thing we would do, just like in design school, is we're going to do what we call set our perimeter, and that's what we're going to do with this really pretty lantern spray. And I love it because it has a whole bunch of twigs on here, which gives us all this dimension. Now we're going to use the smaller wreath base that is perfect for our candle to go in. And with these, you can just tear them down to start prepping them to put on, and it makes it super duper easy. And I'm going to cut off this top one, and then we can work on going all the way around our perimeter. Y'all, lately I know there's been a lot of folks who've been having a lot of trials with weather issues and life issues and health issues, and you may be one of those people right now that I'm talking with, and I hope that when you're here, you find some peace and comfort
knowing that you're going to get back to your craft and you're going to get back to what you love the very, very most when you have time and you're able to. So I want to encourage you, when times are tough or things are out of your control, to remember, hey, I'm going to go escape into my craft room and create something beautiful, because that's literally what crafting is about and creating. So I just want to encourage you, no matter what you're going through, you'll get back in there, you'll get to play again. And it's a great therapy to be creating, you know, to do this for yourself. And of course, you know, I have turned this into a business, but it's okay if you just want to enjoy it as a hobby. It is totally all right. Now you can see, once I cut all those pieces down, my next objective is to take and just trim up the wires a little bit on the bottom, keep them really neat, and curl up these little twigs. I love the daintiness of these twigs. I don't know if you can see that, but that's going to be a big asset when we get ready to work with these, because they're going to help bring in that twiggy background to the foreground of the design. And that always makes things more cohesive looking, more depth in your design. And I love it. Just going to take and get that. One of these flowers bit the dust. I'm going to pull that out. And let's trim these two down too. So I kind of got them all uniform length by trimming them down here. And it'll be ready to start to make our perimeter. All right, so now we're going to do that perimeter where we take and set it. So I'm going to give these a swirl in the glue, and then we're going to start to just work around to the outside of our design. I find it easy just to grab a piece. Let me bring these over here and spin it around. And I've got my glue skillet right here. And I'm just bringing these in and working my way all the way around. So we get a nice outside set. Now, your kit doesn't come with Spanish moss, but if you have any around, the Spanish moss, if you just make some little bitty balls of it, it can help hold your pieces in place. So I'm just making a little ball, putting it in there, and you can utilize that anywhere you're seeing a lot of glue or your piece is in an area that's a little more open. I love to use Spanish moss for that. But we're going to try to get these in where we have enough tension with the wreath. But if you don't, that's when it comes to the rescue. That's one of my staple wreath making tools. Besides wire cutters and, you know, my 18 gauge wire, I also am going to need Spanish moss on hand at all times. All right, we're going to work our way around. Man, let me get a little moss on this one. Sometimes if my glue gets a little unruly, those little bits help hide it. If you need to fill in a bigger space, I'm going to get a bigger wad of it, you know, like to make a larger ball and put that in there. See how we kind of wiggle through? That's important to create that little bit of a tension. All right, let me move these aside a little bit. And if you wanted to make this bigger, you have a larger candle, what you're going to need to do is get a couple of kits so you can double up on the supplies. And this one only comes with a 10-inch wreath base, but you can always, if you had two kits, you could use the 10-inch wreaths for something else and substitute like a 14-inch wreath base. So if you need something bigger, you can accommodate that by getting a couple of kits. Okay, let me just cover up my glue right here. A little bit of pieces. Here's a little twig that was in the moss. I'll add that in. Why not? The pieces here. All right, let me show you what we got. Okay, so you can see we've come way off the base. So we started at 10 inches here, and we're a good, we're probably a good 8 more inches. So this wreath is pushing 24 inches now, all the way to the outside, okay? Which is beautiful for a table, and it's going to be just the right scale for our big chunky candle. And we put this guy in here. So you don't want to make it too little. All right. So now we're ready to add our next layer. And our next layer is these really cool poppy pods. And I love this because these have a little bit of a lighter colored greenery. And they have this little grass and of course the beautiful poppy pod. All that's going to add excellent texture on here. So I'm going to take this and just tear this right down. Tear it down, tear it down, tear it down. And then we're going to trim all these off. So I'm going to do that and move my wreath out of the way, and we're going to prep these. Y'all, I've been meaning to tell y'all, as you know, I keep struggling with different health issues with my body and getting older, I always want to give you encouragement too, you know, to find something you love doing. Or at least I love my job here and teaching you all how to make these things. I should say y'all. What the heck? I'm from Texas. Why am I not saying y'all? I love teaching you this, and I'm so thankful that you're a viewer and you come and watch and you want to learn more and you enjoy creating. Even if you never create and you just come and watch, I appreciate it so much. And any creative, you know, if they're on the social medias, how much that means to them if you're watching and interacting and commenting on the videos and taking action, liking, sharing, all that kind of stuff. I want to assure you that matters a whole lot, and we are very, very thankful for that. So even if it's, you know, of course, I appreciate it for me, but doing it for someone else is so wonderful and such a blessing. So I try to do that for my favorite YouTubers I like to watch, or my favorite folks on TikTok, or here on Facebook as well. Wherever they are, I appreciate them. Because I couldn't live in my dream without you. So know you're appreciated. I just want to make sure I remind you of that, and try to do that for others as well if you can. It doesn't cost a dime to just interact with their videos. So see, I took and broke it down. We just have all the green pieces over here and all the pods over here. And the reason we're doing that is because we want to equally distribute them around our whole circumference of our wreath. So all the way around. So I'm going to bring this back to the center, and we're going to use this one first, the greenery, okay? The reason we're doing that is we want to layer the colors to have a little depth, okay? This is the type of stuff I teach in design school, and we practice what we preach. Now, if you want to practice kind of laying it out here, we can just lay it on top to get an idea, and then we can come back and glue it. Just to kind of give you an idea of where everybody would go and get pretty good spacing. So basically 3 on half, 3 on the other half. Simple as that. So we laid it out. Now, here's where the magic comes into play. When I get ready to put it in, I'm going to give it a little twist up, okay? The florals we sell on Keleas.com always have a nice wire. I'm really adamant about that. So you're going to see a lot of depth and texture capability because we can give them a bend. So we're going to go around doing that with a little bit of bend on all these guys. I might have bent that one a little heavy. A little heavy bend. You can come down a little bit, buddy. Happy. That stem was wired. Alright, let's bring this one in here. This is just paper off a stem. Just get it out of your way whenever it gets in your way. Now, once again, if that glue gets unruly and more in the front here, grab some more of your Spanish moss. You grab a whole handful here. I'm just using my little bits right now, so it's a little flaky. I need to restock my moss on the workbench. A little bit right here. But I saved those little pieces too, because they'll work for this. Alright, come on, let's put the next piece in. Give it a swirl in your glue, and then we're going right in right here. Excellent. A little bit of moss on there. And I do want to move those up, like get some motion. There we go, beautiful. And we're kind of working them in between our lanterns. A little bit of overlap, but working them in between. Pretty. And here's one more right here. You see how pretty this is, and really not that difficult. Just takes a little patience to prep the material. And we're gonna space this out and give them all a little bit of motion. I'm gonna pull a little of the twigs to the inside on those lanterns, because I want to make sure we're not hiding that. And that twig is coming forward, because it's always my favorite part. Ask those KDS Bloomeritos in design school. I'm telling you, they know I love a good twig. I like real twigs, fake twigs, artificial twigs. We can make twigs. I love them all. Okay, look how pretty. Beautiful layered up. Now, easy enough, we're going to go in between each one of those with our pods here. Okay, just go in between each one. And these, I'm going to work a little bit more towards the center. Okay, they have a pretty leaf, so I like that leaf working on the grapevine. You can just rotate this around. We're going to go in between each green one. All right, push it in. Beautiful. And you see how that's laying on top, and now that's really effective because we're bringing in the lighter color. Now, it's no accident that lighter color is in the background. When you get a kit from us, guys, all the hard rough work is done. Like the color coordination is all ready for you to rock and roll on your design. And that's some of the hardest part. And eventually, I'd love for you to learn, how to do that in design school. But while you're getting started and you're wanting to explore and experiment with different designs, I would love for you to get one of our kits and give it a try. You're going to be shocked what you can do on your own with a great starting foundation. This one is sitting up high. Come on, buddy, go down a little bit. There you go. You can bend that wire. And we just want to make sure it's just all curving around real beautifully. I'm also a big stickler on the leaves. I want to make sure I get that front of the leaf facing forward. And I'm going to go down in here, push that in. Beautiful. We keep working around. Here we go. Let's push it in here. Nice. Just keep going in between. Got two more. That's going to work perfect. And I always have to kind of go behind with the longer stem where it's going to be falling in the wreath because I want it to fall over here between these two. Oh, that looks really pretty. All right, once I get all of these in, I have 2 twigs left. And they're like little grasses. They're not actually twigs, they're grasses. Oh, these are so stinking pretty. I love them on there. Okay, this is like a wheat grass. We had 2 that came on the pod, so I want you to look around and see where you might have not as much grass. I feel like our grass is great over here, but we could use them more over here. So we're going to kind of fill in with these, and they're going to go in the background right next to where we put in the original lantern sprays in the back. All right, let's put this one a little further down. I'm going to trim it a little bit. If you get a kind of a janky stem, just trim it down. Let's go. Are you catching the spirit yet? Oh, I know. It's hard when it's 90 degrees out here in Houston. It's hard to catch the spirit of the season, but it's coming. Eventually it's coming here. Depending when you watch us, it might already be there. But if not, you can make this too for, any season really. But if you have this color palette, it doesn't even have anything fall in it. It's just kind of that color palette. Look how beautiful, guys. Oh my gosh, this is so pretty. Now, our last step, we're going to use these little berry clusters. And this is because I like to use a detail piece more to the center in here. And this is kind of not that impressive of a spray, but when you push these leaves up and you make these little berry clusters, it's really kind of cool. Until you do that, you're like, what is this? But once I make them into clusters like this, they are adorable. So I'm going to push up every one of these, and you get 4 bushes in this kit. Y'all, and if you are not on our text list and you're enjoying this video, grab a spot on it, because what we do on the text list is we text out when new videos come out and new content is ready for you. And of course, when we have new kits and new goodies that are available, we're going to promote all of that with our text list. So we'd love for you to be on it. You can go to textkelea.com, textkelea.com, or you can just text us the word VIP, like the letters VIP, to 832-734-5201. That's my text number. And send us VIP, and we'll shoot you back a one-time coupon that you can use on your first order. And we'd love for you to give it a try. All right, I'm trimming all these off. Okay. So my bushes are all trimmed down. And now I'm going to take, and I'm just going to use them in twos, and we're going to start to go around towards the center. So I'm going to load up my glue and just work in around the center, keeping these really wispy here in the middle. Oh yeah. And I'm going to use a couple at a time. I like them a little bit more clustered than loose. Alright, and we're just going to work backwards. We put that first one on, and then we're going to work backwards around the wreath. So this one lays over where the last one's glue was, okay? And that'll help camo all of that as you go along. Let's work our way around. Let's go. Okay, cute. My little cluster. Get a good amount on there. Y'all, my glue is unplugged, so I can bring it up here to y'all. So it's getting a little warm. I mean, a little cold. It means it's getting a little hard. Oh, but that's okay. I can heat it right back up if I need to. You love your little glue pot. It's so handy. I have a big one and a little one, depending what we are making. If we're making a bunch of wreaths to sell, then I got that big one out so we can rock and roll. When I'm doing videos, the smaller one's a little more convenient just because of its size here. You know, it doesn't take over the whole screen on camera. Oh, I love this berries towards the center. It rocks. Because it's totally just that little delicate touch here at the end of the design. So, yeah. Keep swirling them around. These pieces I put in first are cut a little bit longer. I'm going to see if they'll work, but we may have to trim them down. Let's see if we have enough here. Okay, now I'm going to go from there on this side now. And just tuck this under this leaf. Put that in. Just kind of bring that over. There we go. Yeah, we're making that work. I've got 2 more pieces to go. I think we'll be perfect. And if you're worried about your spacing, it's totally okay to just lay it out first and then glue it. We talk about that in design school a lot. Just because I've been doing something a long time, I don't have to do that extra step. But if I feel uncertain if I'm going to have enough or whatever, then it's absolutely fine to do. When you get more confident and you know you're going to be able to do it, then you can do it without the laying out first. It's fine. Oh my gosh, y'all, look how beautiful. I'm going to bring these poppy pods up a little bit. Holy moly. So cute. Look at the dimension on this. Look how just so beautiful it is. I will encourage you to check out the finished pictures on this. When you head to the website, you can see the finished pictures there of it all staged up. But let's do it. Let's put it in. Oh, check it out. That is gonna be perfect. Put her in, bring the berries up around the candle. We nailed it. I think this is so fun because not only can it be a wreath, it also can be a gorgeous candle ring. And this is a 6-inch pillar, so this is a big battery operated candle. And you know what? That looks just stunning. Stunning. Look at it. In this kit, it starts off with this really killer wreath base. These are really fun to work with. Automatically going to set you apart because it's very unusual. These are custom made for our store. And they are made of angel vine. They have a wire frame inside, but they're nice and thick and chunky. So it kind of elevates your design immediately, adds a higher perceived value. The greenery you're going to work with has a rose leaf and a beautiful muted green palette with these little rose hips and berries and all the good stuff, nicely wired. It comes with 3 of those. And remember, these kits are very lush, very full. You could stream them, you could, cut them back if you wanted and make multiple projects out of them, but I'm teaching you to do one elaborate over-the-top design. So it's so full, so gorgeous. I know, Kim, it's so fun. They're still in your weather. I know, Donna, they're getting in on that good weather. Then we've got the greenery. This is the same greenery we used in the swag. We got a couple of these, and I love this because it adds that wispy feel to your design. I love that. Then our main star to show is the cute little Scarecrow. I love him. He comes on a foam base, so he's really easy to attach. His arms are wired, so we can do all kind of fun stuff with him. But he's got the jute, the really rustic look, the traditional fall colors. Now, this time we mixed it with some of these fuzzy pumpkins. Those are great texture in here with the angel vine and all the texture that's on his hat and on his legs. And of course, we've got two of these. These are kind of like a little skinny millet, and these are going to work like our wheat and add all that movement. So these are going to function like a berry or a twig would in design, because they're going to move around when that door opens or closes. The two ribbons that come in the kit are a cute plaid and of course the Scarecrow ribbon. That's just a cute combo. Just excellent to set off this design, all right? So think big and bold. This design today we're going to work on, it's going to work all in this kind of the center, a little bit different. It'll be kind of like, we'll have a transition down here at the bottom, but instead of going off to the sides or, you know, a C shape or all the way around, we're going to literally work kind of right in the middle, cascading left to right off of this. So in order to make everything work, we're going to cut kind of a taller piece of foam. Not quite this tall, but probably like about this tall, that fits right here in the base, that I can stabilize nice and strong in there to put all of these pieces in, okay? So I think I want it a little taller, but not quite that tall. So I'm going to kind of make a couple of cuts. Like a cut there, and then a cut here. So I'm just marking up how I'm going to cut this foam. So I'm going to cut that tip off first. And I just score it, and then if you can kind of just cut through it, that's perfect. So I have heavily glued this. I put a lot of glue, and I'm kind of letting that just start soaking in. We're going right in the middle. Now the thing is, that's not enough to keep this in place. It will fail on you. So what we're going to do is we're going to use these like little skewers to skewer in there and hold this puppy in place through the base, okay? So I'm going to cut them down a little. We're going to put them right into that glue. I'm going to cut it kind of long. I'm going to hit with some glue, and we're going to come in through the bottom of the wreath and go into that foam, okay? And there's a wire in there, so I want to try to get, you know, around the wire. But if I can use that as some stability, I'll bend it around it to keep it in there, okay? And that's a brown stem, so that's perfect. You won't see it going in. Trim it. Now these are all, you know, just extra support to hold this puppy in place. So there's two in. Got some stability there. And I'm going to come from the side too. Perfect. So let's come in. We're going to stab it this way. So that's why it's a good idea to keep any of these little nubs, especially the ones that are already wrapped and pretty and, you know, just go perfectly in your design and not even show. That was a good one. I'll trim this off. One more on the other side. So the reason for doing this is so I can get some height in the middle here, but I've still got a good place to put my Scarecrow. And he can sit kind of on the top of this little block and be nice and sturdy. Now this should be so sturdy that I can just pick up the whole wreath by it. Very, very stable. Okay, first thing we're going to do is start with our bigger pieces of greenery to lay out our design. And just like anything, we start by setting the perimeter of the design. So we have to kind of know where we think our transitions are going to occur. So I think I want this cutie kind of sitting up on my foam block, right? So if that's the case, I can't put a million stems in here. I can put some, but I got to have a place for him to still sit here. All right, so I got to leave a little bit of room at the front. So think about that. And if this is the case, probably what will happen is everything will kind of go up from the middle of the Scarecrow, and then the bow we're going to make is going to be down here. So from about here, everything will kind of come down. So that will be our layout for the design, okay? So let's get going with our greenery first. Okay, now with this one, I'm going to start off by just trimming these all individually, or I can just leave it as one full stem, would also work if you wanted to, and I think it's okay to do that. So I'm going to leave this in, and I'm going to set my perimeter. If I leave this as a full piece, just straight up, I'm going to bring it a little to the left, because I know I'm going to have my little scarecrow kind of here. So let's use that one as a full piece to the left. I can trim it right here. I'm going to trim it just a little bit longer, and we're going to glue it in. This is a good little piece. I'm just going to hold it off to the side. So it's fall time, so make sure you're keeping brown stems and black stems for Halloween so you can put those into things. Now, I'm going to go ahead, if I can, I'm going to hit this with a little Spanish moss to hide my glue anytime I can. I don't want moss everywhere. I got a lot to put in this foam, but I can start to do a little bit of hiding, okay, just like I would on a regular wreath. Now shake hands with this. I did that a little before we put it up, but I like to try to get the leaves to the back, those rose leaves, which I love them, but I want to make sure they're in the background. And then move the smaller berries and things to the foreground. Sorry guys, I've got so much congestion, I lost my balance. I got excited about leaves, so that could happen. Here's our first piece going in. Looks great. Now I'm going to take my second piece, and we're going to leave two sections of it together and break off one. Remember, I'm setting my perimeter. So, Scarecrow's here. I'm going to go out to the right and out to the left here. So if I want to do that, I know I can just do that with one piece here. I can just cut it down and use this all as one piece right here. I'm going to cut this off, and that'll leave me one piece on a long stem, all right? Now you can see I've shaped that up so that goes over here to the right. Down low and up high, okay? And we're going to put that right into the foam. And that leaves us a nice little background for our scarecrow. All right, put it in. And I'm not worried about my foam because I've got that nice and stabilized in there. Now, let's go ahead and take and talk about, I'm going to just set Scarecrow up there so you can kind of see. Sit in there, buddy. And we'll put a skewer in him to skewer him just a little bit, but you kind of get an idea where he's going to be. I'm going to put his arm around this. It'll be right there, okay? So with that in mind, we need to start to work on our greenery kind of coming down. Now he's just sitting in there. He looks whack right now, but I'll be fixing him, don't worry. So here's my pieces coming down. And I kind of want to use the same configuration. Remember, our transition is at him, so everybody's got to switch direction. So I think this works fine just as a full stem kind of coming down. And this is what's the ribbon's going to lay on top of, and this is going to function as your background for everything. So I'm going to do the same thing, shake hands with this, separate it out, and we'll put it down low in the design. It's going to be so cute. All right, I think I'm happy with that. And come on out, Scarecrow. We know where your legs are going. So I'm thinking about right there, okay? So there's two ways to do this. I can either pin it into the foam, or I can take and bend this back, and we'll put it into the foam there. I'm just going to kind of get an idea of how long I need. I'm going to cut it right here. My kiddo is with my aunt since earlier. They're still there, and she just sent a text. Gotta read y'all the text, y'all. It says, "We're doing good. Kaya's taking a nap, and I'm finishing the backpack. And we got canes for lunch." Of course they did. I love it. I'm replying to my aunt, y'all. Love it. I'm teaching and having so much fun. Okay. All right. Aunt Jo knows what's up. So Kaya's taking a nap over at Aunt Jo's. My aunt just lives really close. And her daughter are heading up to San Diego next week to be with my mom and dad and hang out with them. So Kaya's getting a little Aunt Jo time. All right, see my little L shape? I'm gonna put that at the bottom, and I'm gonna go in there and put some glue on that now, okay? And remember, this is setting the perimeter, and what that means is setting the, you know, the outside lines of your design. Like, how far am I gonna go out? How far am I gonna go down? What's my plan? And if I can see the glue, I try to cover it with moss, because eventually there's going to be holes here where they'll be able to see into the foam. That's a big pet peeve of mine. I want to get it covered if possible. I forgot to do that one, but we'll do it now. You got one little berry pig left. I'm holding that off to the side. And now we're going to come in with our greenery. Okay, so our greenery is going to soften up all around all this. So I do want to leave it fairly long, but I'm going to go ahead and push this up. All right. But I'm still going to cut these long because we got to get it far from the base. Oh, it's 101, Debbie. Holy moly. And Kansas. Whoa. You're not kidding. It's hot here too. But, you know, we're almost to July, and that's when it starts to get here. We lucked out in Florida. It was not too bad. There was rain. One day it was misting kind of all day and getting rainy, but we worked around it. So it was really only hot, like miserable hot one day that we were outside. So that was nice. All right, trimmed it down again. So everybody's trimmed down. And now we're gonna start to put these in between, all right? So the reason I don't put him in first is because then I gotta work around him. So sometimes I'm okay with it, sometimes I'm not. Here I'm working in foam. I'll put him in a little bit, but I'm starting to teach you guys to make sure you set the perimeter of your design and you learn the concept of the design. Because you'll find when you're mass producing, you're making a lot, I don't want to work around him every second. It's a pain. So I'll put him in probably before we get to the very end. But in this case, I just like to work without him in there. It's kind of like I do that with my bows a lot. I don't like to put the bow in until the end. You can do it. You could put him in first if that was better for you. You could totally do that. Now I'm coming in here, and I'm just working in around, all the way around the perimeter, okay? Still the leaves are the longest, but I'm coming in around him. Yeah, there's no right or wrong way to do it. Remember, I've just made thousands and thousands of pieces, and so some things are just kind of my personal preference. Like, I prefer not to move him. Like here, I can see the foam. I can just rock and roll when I'm putting stuff in. When I have to move him around, and you can see the difference. I have to work around him. Whatever works best for you. I'm working right now just layering the greenery in and around, and everything here is above the transition. So I'm going to go down on the sides even, soften that a little bit. See how soft that makes that look immediately? And when I don't have him in there, it allows you to see exactly where I'm going. Like, otherwise he's hiding everything. And then I'm going to go on this side, okay? So everybody's moved up at this point and spread out. Now I'm going to work on the bottom, so we're going to change direction. Okay? And go with the last few pieces, going the other way. So you can see we've kind of made like a mini swag, right? Right here in the foam, working right up the middle of the wreath. And we've done floating designs in the middle of the wreaths. We've done all kind of similar type styles. But this is the first time we've done this just using a really tall piece of foam right down the middle. And I'm digging it. Digging it with that hollow base. We can make it really stable. Like, we can get in and stabilize the foam without much stuff showing. Let's go down here. See, I'm just working around, and I'm going to put two more here because they're going the opposite direction because we have transitioned down. And when you see me putting a little moss on, I'm just trying to cover up glue right now, okay? So these are the 2 pieces I have left. I'm keeping those later to use kind of around the bow. All right, let's get Mr. Scarecrow in, okay? So we can now work around him with our final few elements that we're going to put in and then get our bow tied, right? So you can see we kind of made him a throne up here to sit in. He's going to sit way up here. Isn't he precious? You're kind of seeing him from the top, so you may not see his face. But in order to accomplish that exactly where we want it, and then the bow be right in here where we left that area open. So I'm going to just go ahead and we're going to skewer him right through his hiney and get him where he can sit right in there good. Okay, so I just gave him a little perch. He's ready to go. And I just put a little moss around it to make him look a little neater because he's just going to sit right in there. I'm going to cut him down just about 3 inches. So he's got a smaller amount for me to put into the foam, okay? Now this is a piece of wired dowel, and in this case that works a little better so I can manipulate him if I need to, right? Get in there, buddy. Uh-oh. Need you to go all the way in, please. Thank you. Oh my gosh, he's so cute. And I love him because he has all this great wire and you can do fun stuff with him, okay? So before we put anything else in, I want you to go ahead and we're going to stop and tie our bow. But we got a great start going. We've got him going up high here, his body coming in here. He's on a wire there, so I can move him a little more, a little less if I need to. Right here is our 2 ribbons. And I love the Scarecrow. Now it happens to be on this roll backwards, so we'll have to work around that, which is okay. Meaning the pattern goes this way. Not too big of a deal except for our first tail. And then we have the plaid that we're mixing with it. And I picked this out because it's got the plaid that's in his shirt and the yellow that's on the shorts. Let me get a couple of cable ties out. And let's start with our ribbon here. Let's go put it on the spool holder. And we're going to start with our first tail, which we normally come in and do this way, but then it would be upside down. So no worries, we're going to come in and I'm going to start with a twist that gets it going up forward. So this will be my first tail. And I do want this to be about 20 inches. It can even be longer, and this is on the left side of my bow, so I'm going to cut it this way. Okay? So twisted, I start my first loop. The reason I still do a twist is so I get that pretty little gather right there. Okay? Now I'm going to come on the right side, and we're going to do our second tail. So I'm basically just taking care of the tails first this time, instead of doing it last. All right? And I want to twist it the same situation, so I get that little pucker. There we go, and it's sitting up pretty. Let's sit here. And that'll help it stay tighter in the center too if you can. So there's our matching tails to start off. So a little bit different than we normally would do, but long 20-inch tails, okay? Now we're going to start with the loops instead of a tail first. So I'll just come in, we'll start in the middle, and we'll just start with the scrunch, and we'll start the loops. And I'm going to go 7, nice and big and full twist. 7. Okay, and twist. Let's put a couple of these. And then we'll come put some tails in. And twist. And scrunch it, okay? So separate these out so we can kind of see our bow starting to form. Beautiful, nice and big and full. And I'm not having another tail here, so we're going to cut that off. Okay. Now let's come in with our check. Check is next. Get in here. And so I want these tails to be nice and long also. I am actually going to dovetail these because this ribbon, it'll look prettier, I think, dovetailed. There you go. Bring that down about the same length. Twist. And we're going to do 2 loops also, okay? Actually, might do 3. And now we're making them about 6.5, okay? No, what are we making them? 6. They're an inch shorter. Okay. And just hold that when you bring your ribbon back up. Twist right hand forward, left hand back. And now I'm going one more at 6, twist. Hold it in the center while you're fluffing it up. Alright, when we're all done, we're going to scrunch it in the center, and I'm going to cut these to match on the other side. We'll cut that dovetailed again. Just fold it and cut up from the fold to make the dovetail. Alright, I'm coming in the middle, and I'm going to put one loop of this now. And let's see, I want to do, I think we're going to do it bow tie. We're not really going to have any tails coming down. I'm going to go literally bow tie. So I'm going to come to the middle. Let me cut it flat. And then I'm going to go in with 1 at 5, okay? Twist. And then 5 would be here. Okay. And instead of making it like normal, I'm going to make it a bow tie. So I'm going to pull it back out. And we're going to make this one big loop. That way I'll eliminate my tails. Okay. And just overlap them slightly. This is about 5 inches on either side. Now get that right in the middle and gather it. And the reason I do that is so I don't have a seam up front where their tail's going to show, right? They're all here in the back when we do a bow tie. And that just means we're not having more tails in the front. Okay? So we're all done. We have a recipe of 2-3-1, 2-3-1, a little bit different than normal. Now I'm going to come in with a smaller cable tie here. This is an 8-incher. I'll run it right beside them. Now as I'm bringing it up, I work that cable tie back to the middle so it's not lopsided. Okay? And then all the magic happens when you fluff it up. Okay, so I've got the cable tie worked to the middle. And now I'm going to lay these in between these. So this part of the bow lays in between those two loops. And you can see how it's going to come together so cute. There we go. Looking good? Now, it's okay if it's floppy because we're dealing with a floppy scarecrow. It's kind of the look we're going for. I'm going to take and get that really tight. Now I'm going to come here to the back, and those two pieces we started with that were kind of short, now we're really going to cut them shorter so they don't show. And then I'm going to trim this off. Looking good. All right, let's come down the middle with our check. It's just kind of an obvious choice we're going to put down here. I'm just going to take this and fold it in half so I get a nice little piece down the middle. Okay, looks good. A couple of knots. And then we'll trim that off too in the back. And our bow is made. Now that bow is taking up a good amount of real estate under our scarecrow. So we're going to put that in a minute. We are going to need to use a wire behind it. Now, you could use the floral pins, but in this case, I need to make my own larger floral pin. So this is a piece of the stem that we saved earlier. So just bend it, and I want you to make your own floral pin. So we're going to put the bow up here, and then we'll be able to push it into the foam. This is a little too long. We'll be trimming it, but it gives you an idea in real size what we're doing, okay? So go ahead and put the bow on here. And it doesn't really matter if you go left to right or right to left, because we're going to go into foam. So I'm just going to put it in and get it tight. And now the bow is attached to the wires. And once we get ready to attach it, I might trim. I will trim these down. You can keep it shaped like a U. It'll give you a little more stability than if you just have it one. But there is our bow on our wire. Okay. Now let me bring the wreath back over, and we're going to start to put the finishing touches on this one. All right. He's in. He's up high. We still got a lot of his foam underneath we got to work with. But he looks really cute. And I want to show you his shape. His shape is good. It's not symmetrical. That's my style. So you'll see this kind of comes off to the left and the bottom just goes straight down. But if you're like, Clea, I cannot do that. That drives me nuts. No worries. Just have this match the bottom. Okay, as far as your shaping goes of the whole design. All right, you're looking so cute, buddy. Now it's time to get our pumpkins in. And we'll get our bow in first, actually. So that'll make you feel a little more comfortable about where everything's going. So let's play with it. Bring the legs up for a minute. Hey, you can do it. Oh, hello again, buddy. All right. This is a different scarecrow here. All right, now I'm going to put this bow kind of tucked up under here. I would like it opposite that high piece up over here, so that way these tails kind of lay over to the right. So I've got that kind of line working again. So if that's the concept I want, I'm going to have it go in here. These are a little too long, so I'm going to trim them off a little, and we're going to go right into that area. Okay. Trim it, trim it. Let's get it on. Okay. Kind of at an angle over here to the right. Perfect. Now I'm going to go ahead. Yes, I want his legs overlapping the bow, kind of coming out a little bit fun. I like all that. Always like it to feel like it's, oh, he's sitting on the bow. How can he even sit on the bow? Well, it's the magic of the foam, you know, like we can do fun stuff when we build it right. Now these tails, I love for them to work in kind of behind and within the greenery. It might be hard to see here, but when I get pictures from the front, I'll kind of show you how I work that in. All right, and you can of course add more ribbon, you could add more tails, you can make that even more dramatic if you want, but I've just kind of got it working in right there. Okay, and he's sitting up over here, looking good. Now it's time to get his pumpkins in and his little his wheat grass. So I love the pumpkins because they have the fun texture, and we already created these two lines. Like we have this line working through the design this way. So we're going to reinforce that with our pumpkins and our grass. So because I think I want the pumpkins to be in the foreground, I'm going to take the wheatgrass and put it in first. Here's my pieces to work in around the bow. All right, and this one, if I just leave it full on, it's pretty good, but I think I want to control the placement a little bit better to get it tighter into that foam. So I'm going to take and cut it into 3 sections. And we'll work it in there. So I want to leave this one here. I need a strong wire on each one, okay? Now this one has the longest stem, so we're going to use it first. Now this is going to shoot right up through this area. I know that's going to be my highest piece, so I need to know how much room I've got to get that in there. I'm getting it in there. Let's get it loaded with glue. And put that first piece of wheat in there. I love that. That just gives it so much movement. So that's our highest piece here. We're going to work down from there in behind the scarecrow. Okay? So number 2, let's put this really full one here. That's going to come out the side of the foam. I know you cannot see it now. That's coming out the side. Fill it in here really, really pretty. Kind of side front a little bit. There you go. And I can see into that glue, so I'm going to cover it with moss. I'm actually going to use a little bigger piece now because I'm getting down to my last few pieces of placement. I want to hide my foam in there. Alright. Alright, I'm going to hold off on this for just a second. We're going to use this in the foreground, but I want to layer in those pumpkins, okay? The pumpkins are going to come up on one big stem through there. Now, they kind of wiggle on this one stem, which is great. So I'm gonna cut this one off and leave these two together, like that. And then we'll use that other one a little bit shorter, because they tend to like walk around a little bit and slide. I want to control their movements a little more. If I had to go up really tall, I couldn't do that, but on this one, I can do it. Yeah, you are so cute in there. Oh, I love the textures. The textures are great. We're nailing it with that. Here comes my third one in. I'll bring it in just a little bit lower here. Right about here. Okay. Cute. And kind of just scooping up around him. Now, I left that little area because we're going to go in there with the wheat. Okay, so they're now not just in there, they're in the wheat. Oh my gosh, this is so cute. I love making this stuff with you guys. Creating new projects. It's just too fun. And I love scarecrows. That is sweet right in there. That looks good. All right. So that's our first line, like working up to the left. We're going to work with our second line, and that's going to come down through those ribbons on the bow. So I'm going to move him up. Move him up. Move it on up. Yay. All right. So you see those there. And we're going to have our next pumpkins kind of work through this way and kind of come out this way with the tails of our ribbon. Kind of lining up over here. And our greenery is pretty much going straight, but we can wiggle it just a little to make that happen. So we're going to do the same concept. We're going to start with our wheat first, and I'm going to cut this down to where I've got 3 separate pieces. And the only thing is, now the foam is way up here. So I want you, before you cut anything, get up in here and see, okay, how far do I have to get into my foam? Do I need to, maybe I need to leave this full if I can't reach it. So the foam is right here. So I'm just going to kind of run that on the front. So I can cut off one piece and leave the rest together, okay? You're going to have to measure and just kind of take a look at it. So I'm going to leave 2 together on a long stem and then take 1 off. So that means I'll take these 2 and take this one off, okay? And we're going down, so we're working on the other side of the transition. So that means everybody works down. And here, you see how we're kind of coming off to the left? I want to rotate this to where I'm going to come off to the right and come down on that same line. Y'all are going to be making some beautiful pieces. I cannot wait to see what you come up with. Hopefully these inspire you to create something gorgeous. Or if you have the kit, you can make this exact piece. Just so many options in your designer wheelhouse here. Okay, that one's going in. Look at that. It's beautiful. There goes those wheats coming out of there. Stunning. Now, we're going to do the same concept with the pumpkins, but I want to control their movement just a little bit, so I'm going to trim off one and then leave these on the long stem so we can get that long piece in first. Got our fun bow working here with the wheat. You can put your arm around some wheat. Oh, you're so cute. You're just a cute scarecrow. All right, now I'm gonna work this up here. So right about there, I want to see how that looks. So that way the pumpkins continue, they kind of S-curve back down. I'm gonna have one shorter one that I can control the length of there. So I think we're gonna go about here. I gotta put a good bend on it to get into the foam. Okay. And there they are. Trim that off and put this in. All right, let's put this piece in. This is our longer piece. Push it into the foam. It looks good. Now I want to take and wiggle this around, and I'm going to work with a little of this greenery just to make sure it all kind of works in. I'm going to tilt the heads of those pumpkins up a little bit. Okay. Perfect. Now let's grab our individual pumpkin, and that one I'm going to put in tight right here. Okay? Then we got to get our wheat in there. This wreath's got such great texture. Sometimes that's hard to achieve with you know, exactly the way I want it, but these fuzzy pumpkins and the burlap texture and the burlap in the ribbon and then this like it's good. It really looks good. Okay, our wheat is next. This is the wheat that's laying in the front. So this piece is here. So it'd be great if this piece could kind of work out right out of here, kind of out the center of the bow. So I'm going to take and get this shorter. And we'll trim up that end and glue that right into the foam under the bow. Okay. There's a little moss there, so watch yourself as you put it in. Oh, pretty. And that just works its way right out. And then I'm going to take some of this wheat and kind of spread it around a little. Yeah, between the pumpkins. There you go. I'm actually just twisting it so these sit up a little better. There you go. Oh my gosh, I'm so cute. Okay, now before I show you the whole finished piece, while we got a good view here, we're going to work with those last bits of greenery. This piece and this little bit of greenery, we want to work that all in around the bow. Okay, just like normal, we don't want that bow to be solitary. So pull these off. A couple of nice little pieces. There's another good wire to hold on to. Trim these down. And we want these just short and sweet going into that bow, okay? So I want a little bit kind of coming out of this side. So I'm just going to kind of go between my two back pieces here. It's into the foam. Now pull them behind, okay? And you can work the florals up higher into the bow, but you just had to get into the foam first, okay? Very cute. Now let's do one kind of coming right out of the center of the bow too. This is the last little bit of greenery we had. So just always save 1 to 2 pieces if possible to do these last little touches. They really look really cute. So this one I'm having kind of come out and up, right? Because it's above the transition, so it comes out that way. And then let's take, there's a little bit of this in here. Let's take and put a little bit right here. So we went on either side in the middle. I've got a couple of pip berries and a leaf. So this week, in this particular tutorial, what we're doing right now, I think the big takeaway is you can create a design right in the center of the wreath that is not C-shaped, nor does it go left or right. It's literally just slightly angled, almost like a swag running through the middle of the wreath base. And I guarantee you when you go to the craft show, no one is having that. They're just having round wreaths that go, predictable around. And it's good to try something a little higher level design, a little bit more out of your comfort zone. I think they're a lot of fun. And these chunky wreath bases themselves are just amazing. Look at that. This is going to photograph real good. That wheat in there is the key on this, guys. Look how cute. So from the back, this is what you see. And I will cover this up. This will be covered with moss or ribbon. A burlap ribbon would look neat and clean on here too. I don't know if I have any 4-inch burlap here, but if I do, I'll put that. If not, I'll pin moss in it to cover that up because I want that back to be neat as possible, but it just turned out really great. So my shape works this way, and I'm a big fan of the wheat on here. That really tied in. And pushing that bow, right, working it into the greenery, this killed it. This crushed it, you guys. Crushed it.
We are going to make one of those elegant, kind of flowing fall wreaths, and we're going to make it on this really neat wreath base. This is all going to come in a kit for you, easy for you to grab, one click and grab the whole kit. The neat thing is this has a little cavern in it. So I kind of teased you. We've taken out the liner and we're going to design right in here using floral foam. So if you've never done that before, you're going to come want to watch because this is so fun. We're going to use some of the tips and tricks we do in design school, and it's going to give you a sneak peek behind the curtain. I think you are going to love it. So get in here. Hey, and if you're not on our email list, you're going to want to get a spot on there. So drop email in the comments and we'll send you a link where you can sign up. That way you won't miss any of our videos. And we give out some true value on our email list where you can click and go to our blog on our website and see all the fun projects we have. You are going to love it. So guys, this is our latest kit we've got out for you, and it comes with the wreath base. And this one is so different and fun, and it makes a really flowing, elegant design. This kit's also going to come with some of this beautiful kind of a fern that gives you this really dried look. And one of my favorite greeneries. This greenery is excellent because it's got those deep, rich tones of fall in there. We're not popping a whole lot of orange in this design. We are sticking with more neutrally pumpkins, so they're coming. And look at the beautiful greenery that's in the same beautiful colors. I mean, is it screaming fall? And we've got a few pumpkins in. They're also going to come in the kit. And look how gorgeous these are. So this combo is going to be excellent. I'm going to show you how to make it. All right, so as we get in here to this design, we're going to start off by deciding what side of the wreath we want the design to be on. And for me, I generally like it on the left side. So I'm going to rotate this around and do it like this so that this flow can come down. And I am going to kind of tilt it just a little bit. So when I'm working with it, I'm going to have it just like that. Now, the next thing I want to do is put some floral foam in the cavity, the open part. So the way I like to put that in is I cut some blocks that can just tuck right in here, right? A little tight, but just tucking in. And we're going to glue those in, and then we're also going to wire them in with some floral pins. I'm going to do that first. And we're going to put these both in. In design school, we love to work with foam as well. When you are originally learning how to design, foam makes it pretty forgiving and easy to go into the space. Like foam makes it just easy. And if you go in, you can always pull it out and change it around. Once you glue it, it's pretty permanent. But I think you'll like designing on foam if you've never done it. So I want to make sure I'm not going back too far. So far, these are just put in with, oh, excuse me, I'm trying to throw it off, with hot glue pressing in. Now, grab your floral pins, and floral pins are a U-shaped pin like this. They're something we use all the time in designing. And I'm going to kind of go from the sides and around the back, and I'm going to make sure that I am securing these through the vine as well, because I want it to make sure they don't wiggle out. I just take and pop these in. Now, if you end up where you can see the pin a little from the outside, a brown Sharpie can get that silver just hiding for you. Just put a little bit of that over the outside. Let me get this right in here. And try to go through where you had the glue already, because that'll hold it in place. If not, dip this in glue before you go in between. I'm going to do that a few places here. There you go. Keleas Blue Merino's design school students will tell you that I'm an over secure. Like I like to get things where they're made really well to hold up. And that just comes from my history of doing craft shows for 17 years and traveling around with my work and knowing the better I construct it from the beginning, the better it holds up. Because you weren't necessarily going to sell out at the first show you went to. And that stuff was going to have to go with you to your next show and continue down the road. And the type of shows I did. So it was really, really important to me that my work held up, of course. I needed it to hold up. Plus, I wanted my customers to be coming back next time I was in town, that we came through. And so now selling online, the same thing. I want them to love our work, come back. I want you to love learning from me and know that what I'm teaching is kind of tried and true. It's tested on the road and in all the places. Okay, let me press this last one in. I think we're going to get it. I love that these vines are tight because they will help hold that well. So our foam is in, and that makes it so easy now to start building up this base. You're going to love it. So we're going to grab our fern in here, and this is called a phoenix tail fern, and you'll see why. It's going to open up so pretty. And when you open up the little cute tie on there, you will find that it has these 3 built-in sections. So that makes it so nice to start kind of setting up our design. So I'm going to put my first few pieces in. These are going to be the longest pieces on the design. In design school, we'll call that setting the perimeter. It's where we want to take and decide how big we want this to be. And I always want things to be big and beautiful and bold. And I'm a big believer in making pieces that stand out. So I'm going to put this first piece in. And you can see I went way off, way up. And that's fine. You just have to be able to have enough supplies to bridge the gap between those lines. So I love when my students grasp that and they get to create these gorgeous lines on their pieces, because that's literally what's going to set you apart in your work. That it's not just one cluster of things, it is some beautiful lines created. So here comes this one on the bottom. You can see I already started that, right? Now let's take and add some other pieces of this in, kind of creating a little separation. On every one of these bushes, there's one of these that's super big. So I take and just cut that in half. If you've never done that before, you can take a bush or a stem and trim it down to sizes that work for your container or your design. And the things we sell, they have really nice strong wires, and that's going to allow you to be able to separate them up easy. So we're going to use the 3 pieces here at the top, and then I'm going to cut into the second bush, and we're going to use a little bit more down here at the bottom. So I'm already creating my perimeter, and I love that. I'm going to take up this little raffia. All right. Now let me find my other big piece in here. There it is. And we'll separate into 2. So we're kind of doing mirror image at the top and the bottom. Y'all, if you've never tried floral design for your own stress relief and creating, you're going to absolutely love it. It is so fun. And I know some people are afraid to invest in everything you need for the hobbies. And that's okay, because here we literally love for you to we have kits set up, so you don't have to have you don't have to have everything. You're just going to need some hot glue, which you could use a glue gun. I use a glue skillet. You're going to need some hot glue, and you're going to need some wire cutters and some scissors. Other than that, you don't have to have all the things I'm showing. Some floral pins would be nice, but you could cut wire to make your floral pins. Like, you don't have to have everything to get started in the hobby. You can just grab a kit from us and then start creating. A lot of things I can tear down. Some things I do have to cut with the wire cutter. But something like this is about a $15 investment, and you can use it in your home anyway. You probably already have a glue gun. So when you see me stick my sticks into the glue pot over here and twirl them around, you'll just be pulling the trigger, putting a little glue on each stem before you put it in if you already have a glue gun. I'd love for you to try this particular hobby, because if you love plants, you love having decor in your home, I think you would be surprised how little it takes to get started. And you do not need to buy every ribbon. You do not need to buy every greenery. Literally, we have kits set up to get you started. So you'll use everything in that kit. There'll be nothing left over to weigh down your craft room or have so much supplies. It is an excellent way to kind of get into this hobby if you do other hobbies already, and see if you like it, because it's truly fun, and you can make something for yourself. You don't have to immediately start selling these pieces, right? You could just enjoy the process. But I love creating, and it's just very relaxing. It's one of my favorite things to do, is get in here and just start creating with you guys. Now, while I've been talking, I pushed up this bush. So this is a normal bush right here. And then we call these pushers because we can make them more clustered and chunky like this, or we can leave them long. And I like to do a little bit of both in my designs. So this one I pushed up short. So we'll use that kind of more in the interior of the design. And the one I left long, which I could pull these back down too if I want them long, the long pieces we're going to use out to the perimeter. So we're still setting our perimeter with our secondary greenery here, and we're going to bring it in. All right, I trimmed that off the bush, and now I'm going to take and stagger these right here in between. You're just kind of bridging the gap between the greeneries. And this is where a kit comes in so handy, because I've already used my expertise to put the colors together for you to create the depth and all that kind of stuff. So you don't have to worry about, oh my gosh, Keleas, is that greenery going to go with this? I know when you get on our website, there's so many pieces, it's hard to figure out, oh my gosh, what goes with what? Well, that's one nice thing about getting a kit, especially when it first comes out, because we've got everything in stock that coordinates, that looks so gorgeous together. You've already seen it in action. I think it really helps you kind of get your your foundation for the design laid out. Okay, now we really worked on that beautiful kind of trending greenery that just comes out and expands and flows. I think that is just gorgeous. I'm going to trim this piece down a little bit. I'm going to go out here to the outside. If I left it super long, the problem would be is I would lose the dimension here where we're going to change direction on these florals. So I have to keep it shorter. Otherwise, I'm way out here, which is okay. It's just going to take more material. We're going to keep our material, to a limit to where we don't lose the shape of the design. So I trimmed that one down. Isn't that looking great? Okay, next move is let's get our pumpkin stem in. Because even though it's a primary factor in here, we need it to be kind of in the background, and we want leaves and other greenery to work around it. So this particular stem is one of those that breaks into sections pretty nicely. So I'm going to go ahead and divide it out. If you've never broke down a stem with me before, this is good because I get so much out of this. So for the price of this one stem, I'm getting like 1, 2, 3, 4 picks. So sometimes stems are a better purchase just for that fact, because you can get a lot more out of them. I think this is going to make 5. So I'm going to trim them all down here into their own little sections. I'm going to try. There's that one. And so the reason I keep them in sections, so I keep this main thick wire that can go into the foam really easily. You'll notice here we don't use pick machines. I'm not big on pick machines because pick machines are great when you're using like really inexpensive materials and you have the time to take and pick out each piece to get that little spike on it. But a pick machine to me is not necessary when you use higher quality materials, because they already have a nice wire, a nice stem, and you're not spending extra time. When I used to have a lot of high volume sales on Etsy of wreaths, there was no time for me to be taking something cheap and really cutting it down into little bitty pieces and picking it. So I eliminated that part of the process, and we started to really choose materials to work with in our shop that were really well made and that were easy to work with. And that meant that strong base wire. So I'm clustering up the 2 pumpkins right here at the center of the design. And we're going to have them kind of snuggle each other because I love that look where they kind of come up here together. We'll just kind of angle them, wiggle them around, see how pretty that looks. I'm watching my berries so they're opposite and they work that line. Our primary line we had already started. So I'm going to go right behind it with this one. And you guys, if you love this design and you can follow the way I teach, we'd love to have you in design school where every week you're getting new designs. You're getting new collections that go together. We're teaching pieces that coordinate. So you get a really cohesive look in your home, and you learn to use all your supplies that you purchase. So there's not a whole lot left over, and it gives you options of, what you want to create within a collection. And I love that for you. Because it's my 7th year of design school, I was a teacher also in real life. I have had time to develop my curriculum and my style of teaching and all of that. And I really feel like if you just give it a chance. You'll be shocked how you can learn these principles and really put them into play in your designs pretty quickly. So you can see how it's layering up really pretty. I'm going to continue with my last leaf over here and go right behind the berries. Berries! There we go. And look how pretty. Oh, it's so pretty. All right, now it's time to add our leaves in, because our leaves are going to add the depth of color. It's going to pick up this color in the green and orange. So these got to go in next. So I'm going to do the same thing with these. You're going to just separate them into sections, and then we'll trim these right down. We're going to get them cut. I'll cut right here. So this has that little end on it. So a lot of times you can tear down stems too, but in this case, if I tear these down, I'm going to end up with a lot of little pieces, and I really prefer them to already be clustered. So this is already clustered. I didn't have to do extra work. It's already ready to rock and roll. So I'm going to put this one in first, a little longer piece, and we're going to go right in here, kind of layering it on top of the green and the brown, kind of in between. I'm staggering them where they have a little bit of overlap, and that looked great. And these berries in here, whoo, so pretty. Let me cut down the other bush too, so I can get everybody to match. I left these two together at the top. You could have done a smaller one there, but I think leaving them together gives you a little more length on that. Y'all, this is so fun. This is so pretty. Let's bring this one. I'm going to work opposite. So this one's going to come down and layer between my green and my brown down here. We're creating that depth. So I'm getting a little bit of brown in the back. Yeah. Oh. Now that's tying it in so good with the wreath base. I love it. All right, now let's work in and around. I'll cut some of these a little shorter just because I want to tuck them in further, especially right here where we've got our transition. We change direction, so I got to keep this short. Remember, I can't have that shooting out or it's not going to tuck in as a good transition. I'm going to take this one and go to the inside. So just kind of going on the opposite side of where we just went. Let me come around and look at it from this way. Oh, yeah. And I'm layering in where those light leaves are kind of, some are in the front, some are in the back. See, it's just kind of layering it in. I love it. Now, this piece has a little bit of twig to it. I'm going to use it right in there. And we're going to put these opposite each other too. So I get that cool little branch. Oh, yes. See how much depth that added? I love it. And then this one, I'm going to go right in here on the right. I think right here. Now, I'm, of course, giving you the structure, and I'm teaching you how I'm doing it. But remember, that one of the greatest things about being the designer, you can do it however you want. You don't have to follow my directions at all. You have control. I can get you started, and you can have the inspiration, and then you go to town. You can go to town. So now we're doing that detail work. This is the depth again. We come back to the foreground with some of the colors we use in the back, and we are going to rock that out. So I'm going to take this one and break it down into a couple of sections. This is the lighter color fern, and so far it's only in the background. So I like to save a little of it and bring a little bit more forward in this particular type design. All kind of different ways to design, different structures, different looks, styles. And on this one, I love to layer it up. So I'm going to bring this one. Now that one will be more in the front. Okay. Let's work a little bit opposite up there. And these little pieces are all wired. So you'll see me take and you'll see me give them motion. That's so they look real. I don't want them flat. Y'all, you've got to give them motion and movement. All right, we've got one more. I'm going to come to the inside right here with this one. A little touch here coming out of the middle. Perfect. And then how about one more kind of coming out of that top right up there? Make sure you're hitting them all with glue. That's what we got so far. Isn't it looking great? All right, we are on our last piece, and that's our greenery, the one we pushed up. We've only used like one piece of it. So this one we did push it up quite a bit. So these are little clusters that we're going to use as what we call filler. And the filler is the material that comes in to fill in the holes. But to me, it's really important that it continues to add the depth of color and that fluidness through the whole design. So I'm going to start and go for the holes first. So right here, I've got a hole where I can kind of see into the mechanics. That's where we're working. So I'm going to put one there. And then I've got one down low here. Just tuck this one in. I'm just covering up things right now. See, they're little clusters, little fun clusters. Now some up above the pumpkins. And you're going to find most of these are going to need to just be tied to the center here and bringing that color, that green color in here. Because remember, we used it out already. We've got it out here. So just pop it in the middle. But I'm also doing a double duty. I'm covering up, seeing into the foam. It's a big deal to me to see glue, foam, cable ties, wire, anything mechanical to your design. We're trying to hide that from almost every angle we can. It's important to me to look professional, to be able to charge a higher value, like just a higher perceived value, because the construction is well done. It's not just thrown together. It is really thought about. The process is structured and layered. Even though this looks like a bunch, you just kind of gathered a bunch of beautiful florals and put them together, you can see when we're done, those lines prevail. That look comes together so nicely. And I think you're going to be pretty blown away that you can do it. I know you can. Most importantly, I want you to have fun with flowers. I want you to find the escape and the peace that you get when you create something like this for yourself. We would love if you'd support our small business by shopping with us and grabbing this kit right here. But I most importantly want you to be inspired and continue to enjoy creators like me. Make sure you like, subscribe, and follow, because this type of thing is something you'll never get tired of watching. All right, you go have fun with flowers. I'll see you next time, and bye. In this particular kit, you're going to get two large elements, and that's one is a cute scarecrow head, which I love that guy, and then this fun bright yellow pumpkin. And the reason we're using these colors is we want to really pop out from our orange swag base that also comes in the kit, and I want to make sure these big elements get in first. It's very easy to attach them because they have foam bases. And that's one of the reasons I'm always teaching to design school. If you can use pieces that are foam, they're quick and easy to attach. And it just kind of takes that fear out of the placement for us. So I'm going to start off here with my scarecrow first. He comes with a little hanger, but we're not going to use that. So I'll just take that little guy out. It's just a little jute hanger, and we don't need it. So I'm going to cut that one out. So we'll have, you know, it looking cute. And I like the scarecrow high. I think it's so cute because we're going to have some fun on the head, but not too high because I want to be able to put in some curly picks coming out of the top, and then pick a direction you want him to go. And then we're going to work alternate. So we're going to alternate directions. And that's something I'm really big about when we're building up our pieces, is like having a nice flow, creating a line in a direction. That way your work just looks a little bit more elevated and a little higher level. So I think I'm going to go out to the right with him. Just hold him with your hand. And if you don't have a wreath stand yet, we have these that fold in our shop where you can purchase your own wreath stand. But if you don't have one, just lay it flat on the table and kind of start to lay out your design before you even glue. I know I want my pumpkin to kind of tuck under somewhere here, and I'm going to put a bow in the middle of both of these. So I'm going to work these opposite first. So let's go ahead and get Mr. Scarecrow in first. He's so cute. Now he's got a bright orange hat, but don't worry, we're going to take that hat to the next level. It's so fun to embellish things and make them your own, and that way if somebody else gets the kit too, when you embellish it a little bit differently, it's going to look like a completely different piece. Now I'm going to put these in here like this. So I'm going to take a couple of the pine tines, or the pieces of pine basically, and this is a U pin. Here it is right here, okay?
And it's a wire that is shaped like a U, basically. I'm going to take that and put it through 2 pieces right here. And then I'm able to pin that right into the back of the Scarecrow because he's foam. All right? So let me get it, but you have to use glue. If you don't use glue, it's just temporary and it's going to fail. So we're going to use a good amount of glue on there. And I'm going to do this a couple of times. Like 1 pin is not enough. You will think it's enough, but it's not, because I always want to make sure everything passes that craft show test. I teach that in design school so much. It's like, can your pieces withstand being handled a lot and hold up really well? All right, I'm going to put another one in. Same process. I've got my little basket under here. I love finding unique containers at thrift stores, garage sales, antique markets. Literally to organize my workspace, but they're cool, right? They've got texture. I'll show you. It's the cutest little basket. I don't know what came in it a long time ago, maybe crackers or something. It's a cute little shape, but that's my pin box. I got my little glue in there right now. Simple little pleasures make me so happy. All right, so I've got a couple of pins in there and he feels really good. Oh, and I forgot to tell you, when you get a swag, it never looks pretty and flat like this. I took some time before to shake hands with it. In design school, we use that term to meaning that we are going to straighten out the wires and we're going to create a flat base. I forgot to tell you that. Sorry, but that is what we do first. Otherwise, they come and they're always going to be like, you know, crazy. You just flatten it out, take some time and be patient. Now, if you are just getting back into working with the pine bases like this one, whether it's colored or it's for Christmas, you might want to wear gloves. Sometimes they kind of eat up your hands if you're not used to it. And of course, as it gets colder in the season, you definitely got to watch your hands because you can tear them up really easy. All right, Scarecrow's in. Now we said we're going to put our next large element in this kit, and that is the pumpkin, and it's our yellow pumpkin, which is great because we're going to use all these colors in this candy corn motif that we've got going. So I want to use it kind of opposite the head, but I want to give it some motion, like up and down. I want to have it moving around. So I'm going to take and put it right here. We're going to use that same technique. So I'm going to take 2 pieces of the pine, and we're going to grab another floral pin out of my cute little basket. I should take y'all on my shopping adventure sometime to the fun stores that I like to pop into and get all their cool little vintage items. Okay, I'm going to press this in. So there's 1 pin in. All right. Now, that's a pretty good angle. She's kind of over to the side. I can manipulate her. I always want a second pin in too. So think about, okay, where else do I need to pin it to get this holding in there? So I'm going to kind of come from the side because I want her to be over this way. I'm going to grab 2 pieces and push them in. Now, once they're in, I want you to come back after that glue dries and go ahead and twist those pieces of pine backward. So basically, if I put the pin over this piece right here, right, and it's like this, a U, now if I make sure and twist this back, it can't pull out, okay? So that's all we're going to do for a second. So I'm going to take and do that once my glue is dried. It's just kind of tantamount to twisting the twist tie on the bread bag. We don't want to do it, but you know, you got to do the twist and tuck. So we got a little space and we got our first 2 components in. So you got it? It's already looking cute. We haven't even done anything. Wait till we really get to where we start adding our pieces in. Okay, next step is grab your really long curly pieces. And these are just like this. They have the yellow and the orange on them. And we're going to use this to kind of create some whimsy, all working around our design. Now, we're going to leave this area open because we call that the bow zone. That's where we're going to put a bow in. And I leave that empty till we get the bow there. So on these, I think these break down really easy into 2 pieces each. So I'm going to get my wire cutters out. And we're going to just take one and cut it right here at the top. And then I'm going to take this one and cut this one a little bit longer into the second section of the stem. So when I do that, you can see I get a section that has a 3 and a section that has 2. I'm going to do that for both of these stems and just cut them right up. Don't cut too close to the stems on these type of stems because You see where it's a little fatter there? That's because the fabric from the curls goes down in that area. So you'll get a lot more ease of use if you don't cut right there. All right, now I want to space these out and once again shake hands, and I can squish them down or I can elongate them. I can do either one. I've got both options in my design. And remember I said I wanted to have some excitement coming out the top? That's what we're going to do first. And we're going to do that just opposite her sweet little scarecrow head. And I'm going to load this with glue. And then we're going to kind of come into the body of the swag back here. I'm not out on the edge. I'm into the body. I'm tucking that right behind the head. See how cute that is? And now I'm also going to take a little of the pine to hold it in. So we've got glue and we've got the pine. We always use a two-step approach for attaching, just for security. I'm really big on mechanics. Of course, I want you to learn design, but I want you to have really good, solid mechanics. Because then your work will last a lot longer, and your customers, if you're a seller, they will be so happy with what they purchased, they won't want to get their wreaths from anywhere else. So in design school, I'm always making sure that everybody's learning how to properly put things together. Now, I'm going to move her up on the wreath stand so you can see the bottom we're going to work on here. And this curly part that has the 3 from the other stem, we're going to easily put this kind of under the pumpkin and a little bit off to the side right in here, where the curls come into here, but then they also go down. Remember, I can pull them out or I can squish them short. I can do whatever I need to kind of make them work both ways. So let's put this one in there. I've got my glue skillet right behind my work stand, so it's really easy to get to. Now I come in here and I'm going to twist these in. Isn't that awesome? And we're going to just tuck them and rock and roll. Okay, so my curls are coming down right out of my pumpkin. Now, it's time to put the bow in. Now, we will have a link here to the bow video. It's a separate video you can go watch. And if you don't see it here, you can ask for it in the comments, or you can also head over to the supply list for this kit, and it'll have a link to all the videos that go with it. So anytime you buy a kit from us, you'll get a sheet in the kit that actually takes you back to the video, but you can also find those sheets just out on our website on the supply list anytime. It has all the links, everything you need. We try to make it super easy. And then when you're ready, you come join us in design school, and we have a whole portal where there's no hunting to find things anymore. It's right at your fingertips, and you have all that exclusive content just for you, step-by-step recorded. So here is our bow. And we went with all the fun colors on this one. And we went with the orange, little cute candy corn on the front. It turned out super duper cute. So this bow, it has a cable tie in the back where we're going to be able to attach it to our wreath base. We're going to go right into that bow zone we talked about, right into this area where we left the space. And I'm going to try to tuck the bow in a little bit off to the right. And kind of pop her in between. This is going to soften the bright yellow of the pumpkin, but still let it poke out from behind. I love that. So we're going to come in, and I'm going to attach this to, I'm going to go with 3 pieces of pine, and you're going to use the same technique we just did, where you're not going to the base, but you're going to the pieces of pine, and then we're going to twist them backward, just like I talked about the bread twist tie. You're doing that so if someone were to pick it up by the bow, it can't just slide off. We got to make sure that these things are going to hold up. Now it looks whack right now. It's facing forward. Don't worry, we're going to pull it back. So I'm going to tie that in. And now you're going to go ahead and tuck those loops right under her chin. Oh, how cute is that? And we're going to have this all really poof out. Okay? And we're going to add a couple more curls kind of coming out of the bow now that she's in. So take these sweet little curls and tuck them right behind the bow. So once you have that in the spot it's gonna be, you've like nailed the bow zone. I'm gonna tuck this inside here, and we're gonna get some pine. We're gonna make sure the pine hits the glue, and then we're also wiring it in too. Now, if you're making this for yourself, you're more than welcome not to glue it if you want to. It just is not gonna, it's gonna take a beating on your front door and stuff will fall out. So just know, hey, when I'm ready and I've got my design ready, I've really got to glue it in. Because I want it to last, you know, a good while at least. See, when I get that glue on there, I get a lot of it. A whole bunch. Okay, and I'm going to come from the other side.
And we're going to tuck this one in. I'm going to kind of go under her head. Now, we talk about direction and changes in direction all the time in design school and how important they are. So when I'm right here at the center of the bow, it's totally fine to just have those pieces just come right out. Look how cute that is. Before we put the cupcakes in, I know you've been waiting for the cupcakes. We want to go ahead and get some ribbon tails in. So you're going to grab your ribbons that were in the bow. And I am going to use these two right here and layer them up to put them in. It's very simple just to layer a skinnier ribbon on a more narrow. Now, I'm getting ready to have to pull these ribbons while I'm working with them. And I use, it can sit on the bow maker, or you can also just take a dowel and stick it right between your little rolls of ribbon if you need to pull it on the counter. So you see here, put it in, and now I can easily pull and hold that. So you don't have to have anything fancy to be able to pull these tails out nice. Okay, my first tail is just going to hang straight down here at the bottom. Let me bring her back up so you can see. When I'm doing a swag and I'm filming, it's a little tricky because we got a lot of directions. Now, I think it's cute to have like a double set of tails, just like this, and kind of cut them at opposite angles. I like to make one a little longer and one a little shorter. So we're going to do that right now. Come on here, cut up, buddy. Okay. You don't have to do anything too fancy, but make this, right? And then I'm going to take and just wire it in. Okay, so take the piece of wire, twist around, tuck it up and under. And that big one's going to go there. And the small one will just go on top. Okay, so those are cute little tail. And we've got more picks to put in here at the bottom, so don't worry. Now I'm going to come back to the top. That's so cute. And we want another tail kind of shooting out this way. Now, if you want tails to stand up, you can't cut them so long. They'll be floppy. So we're going to cut them a little bit shorter when we go up to the top part, right? So I'm going to do the same thing. Hold my little spool holder here. And we're going to go, maybe that's about 8 inches, 7 inches. I'm going to gather it. And then my next one I can make just a little bit longer so they stack up pretty. You can see here, I'm going to come in and make it about 9. So not too big, okay? So this is what it'll look like. Now, I want this to stand up a little better than that last one, so I'm not going to use the same technique. I'm actually going to gather it like this. See, it's flopping a little. We'll put a little weight behind it. We'll put some of the pine behind it. Now, I want you to grab a cable tie and go ahead and put this on one of our pieces of stem. Where's our black stem? So here's our black stem off of one of the pieces we already cut. I want you just to put that around there. And we just made our own little cluster, okay? I like to cable tie it on. It'll keep this cluster tight and will help it sit up a little bit better. All right, don't worry about it flopping. We're going to put it in the wreath itself. You can also, like if one ribbon is a little stronger than the other, we can always take and tack a little glue on there and make it a little bit more sturdy. So I'll do that right now, right? Okay. So I'm just going to run just a light bit of glue on here with my simple technique and just run that right down the middle. Okay, and I make it a little bit stronger to sit up. And this is going to come out working right behind these curls. So we're going to go behind them and have that little bit of ribbon just popping out of the top. Super cute. Let's put it in there. I got to glue it in using the same technique. But it's kind of neat when you layer ribbon like that. You can kind of create your own pattern, basically, which is a lot of fun. So as I put it in, I'm also going to twist around because I want to keep it stable. And let's just tuck it in and make sure you got some pine kind of coming behind it, in it, so that can pop right out. It's so cute! All right, I promised you cupcakes. Here come the cupcakes. So I know I want to use some cupcakes kind of coming out the top, and definitely having a lot of fun with that. So I'm going to take a couple here, and we're going to separate these where they each have a good sized stem. And you want to hold on to any extra stem because we can use that for another little project. Okay, so I want to get them standing up pretty good, and let's put one right here above the hat. I think that would be really cute.
like she's got some cupcakes in her hat because she's that cool. Of course she is. That looks good right there. Oh, cute! And let's use one right here in the side. I have a couple right here together. Isn't that just making it so cute and whimsical? I love this. If you've got grandkids, you have got to snag this kit because they can help you make it. And you just need to supervise the glue gun, of course, but man, this would be super cute. They could name the Scarecrow, give her a name, and then help you add all the fun embellishments on here. That's literally half the fun. All right, since we put these cupcakes over here, we're gonna put some more cupcakes in. We want these to come opposite and work opposite, and that'll bring that color combo over. So I'm gonna do the same thing. I'll take and cut these down into 2 sections. And the first one I kind of want to keep a little tight to the bow to come out. Look how cute that's gonna be. Right in here. Oh my gosh. You guys, if you're not on our text list, you might want to get a spot because you know why? I let you know when new videos are coming out, just like this one. So if you don't get a text for a video, sometimes that's because it's a replay. It's not brand new. When something is brand new, brand spanking new, we always shoot out a text so our VIP customers can know, hey, you don't want to miss this. Our text number is 832-734-5201, or you can also take and go to textkalea.com and sign up there. You've got a couple of different options. Now, once you get on the text list, send us VIP, like very important person, because then we know you are set up to get our first 10% off your first order. We'll send you a coupon, and then you're not going to miss another text when we have something new, like this cutie right here. Okay, let me show you what we got so far. We got some cupcakes. We got the top. Oh, so stinking cute. Of course, you can make yours the way you want. Feel free to add more and more and go to town. Let's put in a couple more cupcakes here at the bottom. Or at least one more. We might save one more for the top. Let's put in one more kind of coming out the middle of this tail. I think that would be so cute. Get in the middle. I'm going to twist that around. And these are all on great wires, so I can always take and have them come back up. You know, if them being upside down is bugging you, it's no big deal. We can twist them up and manipulate them however we need for the design we want. I kind of like that one coming out down. All right, let's bring it back down. I'm going to add one more cupcake to the top. Isn't she precious? And this one we're going to kind of put over here on the right side. I think kind of coming right beside her cheek would be precious. So watch your ribbon. Let's get her loaded with glue. And I'm going to come in on the right. Excuse me, I'm going to give you a little cupcake right at your cheek here, baby. She's so stinking cute. Okay, our last little pieces that come in the kit. So I want to add a couple of these to her hat to kind of embellish her hat a little bit and get it looking adorable. So we're going to take and cut these down a little shorter. I just like to take a couple of stems off. And we're going to make a sweet little like piece for the top of her hat. Now in this kit you get full rolls of ribbon. So you'll have plenty of ribbon to add more embellishments, add more ribbon tails. Whatever you want, you can pop in more. I'm going to put these kind of coming out of her hat, but like she stuck a feather in her hat, kind of like that. Oh, that's cute. And let's put a little the other way. And then I'm going to tie her just a little bitty bow to go up and under here. Yeah. Oh. Just going to make sure that stays right there. Get her a little... You can also curl these if you want them a little shorter. Always think that's cute. It's kind of like little pip berries. Have some fun with them. I'm holding it while I'm kind of moving it around. Isn't that precious? Now, we got to cover up our little bit of mechanics there. So I'm going to take our sweet little cute candy corn ribbon and just make a regular old bow, but I'm going to kind
kind of double up on it. So I'm going to have 2 pieces. So it'll be a kind of a nice little loopy one. So 2 pieces of the ribbon. And let's just do a regular old bow. Loop, 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 and a crisscross applesauce, okay? 2 loops and crisscross. Let's see if we can make it cute on the first go. We're gonna try. All right, let me pull the tails out a little bit better. Just like you're tying your shoes, basically. But we're doing it with 2 layers of ribbon. So I wanna get it looking cute. I didn't really pay attention, but this little ribbon has a rickrack edge. That is so cute. No wonder I liked it. All right, now I'm just gonna pull these down until I get the loop size I want and twist those little tails. Okay. Oh, it's gonna be so cute right there. And we're gonna trim these a little shorter. You could even dovetail them if you wanted. I'm gonna go short and long. So I cut that first one a little short, then a little long. And now we're gonna glue that in her little hair right there. The embellishment part of the project is always the funnest. It's like these little details. Sometimes when you're a creative that sells, you have to be careful because you end up really getting sucked into this little world of embellishing. It's so fun. But you know what? It's worth it. Those little details make it super cute. Now, I've got 2 of these stems left, and I would like to put some of these in the bow and a little bit scattered throughout. So I'm going to just literally take and cut these into individual stems. And that way we can make them go all over our design. But we want to just use these to add little bits of detail throughout the design. So I'm going to cut that longer so this stem could be a little bit longer. Trim this so we get all these, some with a little bit of longer stem if possible. There you go, and it's all broken up into individual pieces. So let's first start with the bow. I like to put about 3 into there. Now when we go into the bow, sometimes we glue into the loops of the bow, but other times we literally just go in between them, like here at a layer behind. Okay, and I'm gonna glue actually to the base of the bottom ribbons, and just make sure you kind of grab and sandwich it in between the ribbons so it'll stay. So that's so cute coming out of there. And poof up these layers. And you gotta watch this bow video too, because we layered up the last layer on the top of this bow, which is really, really cute. Something you can play with. And if you're a design school student, we have some layered bow videos in the portal that you will love, love, love if you haven't used that technique in a while. That's a fun one to play with. Okay, here comes my 3rd piece in. And once they get set up, you can fluff them a little bit more, just like the layers of the actual bow. Once the glue's set, I can wiggle it a little bit more, but just give it a second. All right, let's put 1 more. I'm putting 4 in the bow. I thought 3 would be enough. No. Now, when you start to put different elements in your design, sometimes it's, you feel like I'm just going to put a little everywhere. And that's fine. But in this case, we're using candy corns kind of in the center zone, these small ones. So it's more beneficial if we just kind of keep the eye going in that area. So what I want you to do is you can branch out a little, but I want you to stay in the center when you start putting these in. So, and create a line with them. So I'm doing that right here. Like this is kind of continuing from her little hat, squeezing it in. And then I'm going to put 1 more above. And then we'll work a few more below the bow to continue that line on. Okay, here I'm gluing to the back of the hat, but I'm going to find some pine to kind of sandwich it. So even though I'm not using the wire to hold these, I am sandwiching them between 2 things so the glue can hold. All right, we have 4 more pieces. Now we're going to work right down this center and put them in right here. So we'll come right below the bow, right in here. I'm going to get in there on that pine. There's our first piece. Ah, get up higher. Come on down. I want to put 1 right here.
These are just such cute little accents. Now, if you like anything in the kit, we always have all the pieces labeled there. So that way, if there is something else you want more of, and we have it in stock, you can add that. Let's say you like, oh, Clea, I love those little candy corns. I know I'm gonna have ribbon left from the kit. Let me go ahead and buy some more of that. We'll have links to all that on the supply list as well. So you can go to town, really. You can add more of that collection when you grab the kit. And you'll know you have more things that work with the ribbons and the whole design, because you've already seen me work with it. It's a no-brainer, right? It's a no-brainer. You know it's gonna work. Hey, we did it. She is a cutie. She's a cutie. She's going to pop right off your front door with all her yellow and orange and black. She is going to be stunning. I love to work with pre-made bases when I can, especially if I'm on a crunch and I need to be stocking my Etsy store quickly. And this one comes on a what you call angel vine base. And I love that all these florals are ready to go and easy to work with. On another video, we've showed you how to hand tie the bow we're going to be using on this, but with these two ribbons, we're going to add a little bit of a tail into this design too. Another thing that we're going to be using today is some gorgeous pampas grass. So we're going to get started by creating our base first. The hanger's built in, and you can see the nice angel vine base. It's super easy to work with, really quickly to build up your design. What I like to do is I do like to use the bow in the top region, but I want it to be a little bit not at the tippy top. Like I like to have florals above it. So I use a matching pick. This is more of a spray. It's a little bit longer. It's got the same florals, and I'm going to shake hands with it just like we have to do with everything we use in design school. When I'm teaching our class every week, we talk about manipulating the florals because we want to make sure that you're paying for nice, good quality. You want to make sure you manipulate it to make it look really good. Here, I'm going to take and cut it down enough to where it can still get into the base, but we don't need all this extra stem. Probably about a 7 or 8 inch stem. Cut this off, and then we'll see if we can go ahead and work it in and go right here at the top. You know, building inventory for your shops. Now, that one's in where I like that spacing. You see I left a little area in here. We would call that the bow zone, right in the middle. We leave that open so we have some space for that bow to go into, and she can sit in the design rather than just going on top. We do both, but in this case, we're gonna let her sit in. I think I'm gonna use a combo of glue and cable tie. So let's get a little glue on the stem and put her in. Kind of do that a lot. Like, if I feel like the glue is going to hold, you just go with glue, but I think sometimes the combination is just perfect because I want to be able to control her a little bit more. So I'm going to go right here. She's got a hanger behind. I'm just going to tie her back to her hanger a little bit with the cable tie. Now, when you tie onto a hanger, you have to think about, if I sell this, when I sell this to my customer, they're going to easily still be able to hang it straight off that hanger. So make sure where you're putting the cable tie doesn't disrupt that. Now I'm doing that to kind of pull this back a little. There we go. And we won't be able to see it. I used a brown cable tie, so it's totally hidden in there. And now I've got the glue holding it, but also I've got that back up the cable tie. I like both. This particular leaf, I think I'm gonna try to bend over a little bit and come over this way because I'm trying to keep the bow zone open. Now we're not going to put the bow into the end, but I want to start working on our pampas. It's a beautiful fall swag, but we're going to take it to the next level. Take your pampas, we're going to use those wires we talked about and kind of spread this all out. Give it some dimension. You can see I'm trying not to make it flat like a big feather, like a headdress or something. I want to have a little bit more movement. And we're going to put our first piece in, going over here to the right, and this one can reach the grapevine base, or the angel vine base, so I'm going to just, I don't even need to trim it or anything. I'm just going to give it a little bit of a swirl in the glue. We're going to have this one kind of come off to the right. Now, it's glued into the base fine. I want you to take and manipulate it a little in. I want to see it work around the pumpkins. So a couple of pieces will come up. Remember, the bow will be here, but that will be pretty. Now, I like to teach not matching on the midline a lot of times on a design. Like, we want to stagger one higher and lower. That seems to look more natural. So I'm going to go up a little bit this way, where this piece will go a little higher. So this one's lower, this one's higher. Now, it can't reach the grapevine in the background, so I'm going to attach it with cable tie. So remember we attached this stem to the back. That works great because now we can just go right on it. Super stable. Use your cable tie. Put it on nice and tight. It's right there. All of that mechanics will be hidden by the bow in a little bit. So one of those will work. Shape this out a little bit in the foreground, and we're going to mix that in. And that's a trick we're always working on with design school because it helps you have a higher perceived value when you get ready to sell your work. Okay, so the top's done. Looking good. Let's do the bottom. We have high and low, and then we have to shift direction. That's called a transition point. And when you learn how to floral design, there is transition points that occur all the time. So we've got one right here. So we're going to shift directions and start to work these in opposite each other, kind of working down the base. So I need to trim it down a little. It's a little bit long. I'm going to take a couple inches off, and we're going to work with this one on that side first. Okay, so I'm going to work away from me a bit. I'll give that a swirl. And we have 3 pieces here to work down this entire base. So I'm going to push this in. I want to feel it go into the angel vine really good. And that's just what the base is made of. And then I want you to take and utilize these wires. So some will go to the front, some will go to the back. I want to bring some greenery up. So you can see how we're already, like, we're upscaling this big time with just these simple, beautiful pampas that we're putting in. All right, so our next piece will come down a little. It's going to work opposite this one a little bit down. And I'm still shaping it right up. And swirl it in my glue pot. We'll put it right in just a little bit lower. So we get nice spacing, nice placement. We'll work that in right under the sunflower and just push it in. Okay, and spread those beautiful wires out. I mean, that's why we're not buying this stuff from big box stores. When we're buying good quality florals, it's going to be quite a different quality, and your manipulation ability of it is going to be next level. And then our last piece is going to kind of come on the other side, and this time I'm going to take and I am going to cut them down even shorter, so a little bitty stem, and then we're going to put this one in on the other side, kind of coming down to the middle. All right, so I'm just going to take and hold them all in because it's shorter. I don't want to get it in my glue. Well, that's a great way to get burned, having that in the glue. We don't want that. This comes in over here, and then I want to manipulate those berries on top, some of this underneath. So the advantage of starting with a pre-made base is you can see how quickly we can pull this together, and I can start to work on all the techniques and mechanics I'm learning. But see how beautiful she is? And we're not even done yet. Now I'm going to come up here. She's going to go in that bow zone we were talking about. I'm going to pop it right into here. And I'm going to get her nice and tight. But even if you're not looking to make and sell or anything like that, and you just want to make some pieces for your home, these are easy to complete and do, and they're fast. But they're not like anything you're going to see anywhere else. I work really hard to have products that are different, styles that are still trending but a little bit different, so you can feel like you've got something special for your home. Or you can make these as a gift for a Thanksgiving party. These can stay up all season. So as I'm putting that bow in, I'm kind of manipulating my cute little leaves around, and I like those tails going up and down. Isn't that gorgeous? She is so pretty with all her pampas and her sunflowers, and then this is that really cool silver dollar eucalyptus with the red. That's always so popular. Beautiful. It's up to you if you want to do this next section, but I thought it'd be fun to give a tail coming out the bottom, kind of weaving in as we went down. You don't have to, but I think we're going to do that to add a little pizzazz. You're going to grab your rolls of ribbon and just decide, okay, how much do I want coming out? You know, how big is my door? Would I like a couple of tails coming out either side? You can do that. Or we're just going to do one really pretty tail kind of curling out the middle. So I'm going to do it about, let's do it about 12 inches long, maybe 16. Let's go 16, a little bit longer. So that's going to be my tail, all right? We can put these aside. You're still going to have some more ribbon to play with. So you can make yourself, you know, some bows to go on your mailbox or at your front door. Now I'm going to go ahead and dovetail both of these so we get a nice little finished look on the ends of them. We pop this in our swag. And then when you just want to make like a little additional tail to go in something, all you have to do is kind of pleat it up like this. And then you can just take and cable tie this right into your piece, okay?
Or you can take and tie it, use a cable tie and tie it to one of the little pieces of the wires we cut. That might be easier to get in and all around this. This is like one of the pieces of the wires we cut. Just take that, cable tie it to it. And all of a sudden you've got like a little section of ribbon on a piece of wire. It didn't cost you any extra. You already had the rolls. You already had the piece left. Trim this tail off, this side off. All right, so it looks like this. Okay. Now, I like to put a little glue here because I'm always trying to make things that can hold the test of customers. That comes from 18 years of craft shows and learning that people are going to grab stuff and they don't understand how it could be fragile. So for me, I think this would go in cute right about here, kind of coming down. So I'm going to cut it a little shorter. It's a little bit longer than we need, but better be longer than too short, right? Then we'd have to take it apart and do it again. Now I'm going to go ahead and stick that in the glue pot, get some glue on it. And let's just tuck her in that pumpkin, underneath this pumpkin right here, and push her into that angel line. You should feel it go in nice and tight. Beautiful. And that little tail can just kind of work its way out, coming down to the side. And if you want to have more or less of those, you can take and kind of give it a little motion. It has wire in it, so you can wiggle it just like that. Isn't that fun? It's super cute, guys. So Bloomerinos, you can try this type of design and play with it. I hope this inspires you to make something beautiful for your home this fall. And we'd love to have you in design school. Come and join us. We have lots of fun things planned always, and there's a lot of benefits for being in our class. So come and join us. Make sure you like, subscribe, and follow no matter where you're watching. And I will see you next time. You guys go have fun with flowers. Bye, everybody.